Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Down da down 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 da down. Yeah! Down da down 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 da down down da down down. Okay, now we're just getting carried away. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, in the beautiful upstate of South Carolina. Hello, everyone in America. What is up, residents of planet Earth? It is great to be with you. Happy Thursday. Howdy, y'all, and welcome into the Rob Brown Show. 3 hours of sports talk radio excellence starts now, ladies and gentlemen. So good to have you. I am Rob Brown. Directly across from me on the other side of the metaphorical glass and the literal board, he is the Sultan of Swag, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave, the Sultan of Swag, Colonel Grudge, hashtag Dad Kicks, the Alpha and the Omega of the fan upstate. He is the great one, Lonzo. What up, bruh?
So we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and I'm trying to do the rock eyebrow thing. I can't do it. Whatever. Rob can, but you know,
the three talents I have in this world, the other one reaching things in high places, and the third picking up heavy objects.
I will tell you that the glasses takes away from it, though. I mean, because, you know, it just makes you look inquisitive. It's not very rock-like.
I am inquisitive.
You gotta take the glasses off when you do it. I'm jealous. I can't roll my R's and I can't do the rock thing.
I can do them both at the same time.
No, you can't.
Nailed it. Ladies and gentlemen,
I quit.
What a show we have lined up for you today. We got all the stuff to talk about, y'all. All the stuff to talk about. We have got going on right now. And I'm going to come to some sound here in just a minute, Zoe, because it might be the most important thing that we have to get to start the radio broadcast today. We have got to talk about NIL, because not only is there a trio of senators that have come together in order to discuss the future of name, image, and likeness legislation, but it is a very odd trio. It is a trio that is bipartisan, of dudes that otherwise probably would never work together, like, at all, ever. So we're going to talk about that. We got to talk about golf at 10:20. Savannah Leigh is going to join us. She is our golf expert. She's going to break down the Open Championship with us at 9:40. Coming up here in just a tick under 40 minutes away, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast is going to join us on the broadcast as we get set for Rookies to Report to fall camp, summer camp, coming up this weekend. Of course, next Saturday, we will all be out at Panthers camp. Looking forward to that. So we'll get Rashad Beard up in here to talk Little Panther football. At 11:20, it's time for Fight Club with the great one, Lonzo. And oh boy, howdy, we got no shortage of stuff to talk about there between boxing, MMA, WWE, and AEW. We're going to get into all of that at 11:20 with Fight Club. But before we get into any of that, Southeastern Conference Media Days, Southeastern Conference. I don't know why I suddenly said it that way. SEC Media Days taking place over in Nashville, Tennessee, y'all. And yesterday we had another round of coaches take to the podium. Billy Napier was up there. Nicholas Saban was up there. And Sam Pittman was up there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Sam Pittman.
Who's Sam Pittman?
Sam Pittman is the head coach at the University of Arkansas. Sully!
Wait, what? How long has he been the coach at Arkansas?
Listen. Sam Pittman has become one of my favorite coaches.
I thought they only hired ex-Clemson coaches.
Sam Pittman has rapidly become one of my favorite coaches. And by that, I mean yesterday. It happened yesterday that Sam Pittman became one of my favorite coaches. So Sam Pittman got on the podium yesterday, as did Saban and Napier and a few others. And I as I do, watched through bits and pieces of their State of the Union addresses, as I call them. We'll do the same next week when we're up in Charlotte for ACC Media Days. And I watched, for instance, Billy Napier. Billy Napier is your coach if, and only if, you hate fun. It was just, and I get it. It was a rough first year for Billy Napier. Vegas right now has the Florida Gators over-under win total set at 5.5. You got to take the over to get to 500 for the Gators. Now, recruiting is going very well down in Gainesville right now. And it's tough to come off a year like the Gators had last year and then show up to media day and be like, everything's great, let's have some fun, y'all. It just doesn't work that way. So Billy Napier was, let's say dry. Okay? Let's say dry. Nick Saban went up there, and Nick Saban was just Nick Saban. He's just Nick Saban. He's going to give you a good old boy's anecdote from back in his day, and then he's going to talk about his football team, and then he's going to leave. And he did it again. They said, Nick, what are you looking for out of this team? And Nick said, well, back in my day, back when old Granny Saban used to cook us cakes. This is the story he actually told. I remember when I was a little boy, I'd stand by the oven and I'd be like, Granny Saban, when's that cake going to get ready? And Granny Saban would say, Nick, you got to have patience. If you take the cake out of the oven before it's ready, the cake's going to get all mushy and fall apart. And, I just look at this football team like Granny Saban's cake. We just got to wait and be patient until it's ready. And it's like, oh, Lord of mercy.
Really? So that sounds like a great analogy. I enjoy that. And I like cake. Do you not like cake?
I love cake.
Have you ever taken the cake out too early and it's not good?
All I'm saying is Nick Saban tells stories like a 71-year-old man tells stories.
How old is he?
He's 71 years old,
okay,
so it checks out perfect.
Okay, all right.
And then, ladies and gentlemen, there's Sam Pittman, the head coach at the University of Arkansas. Sam answers some questions. He talked a little bit about Arkansas in the portal, talked a little bit about what it's going to be like when Texas and Oklahoma join and what it's going to be like to compete in the West for the very last time. And then Sam Pittman got asked about locker room entertainment, off-season entertainment, how he keeps himself busy. And Sam Pittman decided to clue us all into a little bit some of the away from football life of the head coach of the University of Arkansas, Sam Pittman.
Right now, you can go on Hot Springs Yacht Club on Spotify. And if you want to know what I listen to, that's it, because that's mine. And I'm into mixes right now. I'm into, old songs with a new mix, I'm kind of into that. Like maybe the top 7 or 8 of those I put on this summer. But no, we're going to still have a little bit of jukebox music. I was on stage actually singing Hot Blooded with Foreigner last Friday. They shut my mic off. I don't know if the guy's afraid I'd take his job or what. I got a job. Don't worry about it. But I was up there.
So let's break this whole thing down piece by piece from Sam Pittman. First off, he tells us you can go and find the playlist Hot Springs Yacht Club on Spotify, and that's his playlist. So, Lonzo, of course, in the name of show research, I definitely did that.
Well, yeah, you got to do that.
The playlist is organized on Spotify by J.J. Pittman. Looks like it checks out.
We're going to get a sample of what he's got on there. I mean,
I will give you a chunk of the 175 songs and 9 hours of music on the playlist.
That's not that much, but that's all right. How many do you have on, your smallest playlist?
Let's see. The Shenanigans Spotify playlist probably checks in about 8 hours. My just genuinely liked music, I'll look it up, but I'm guessing it's probably in the 130 range at this point. Let me tell you what's on.
You only have 130 songs liked?
No. Hours. 130 hours.
130 hours. Okay. All right.
Let me tell you what's on Sam Pittman's playlist here. Hot Springs Yacht Club. It opens with Jump Around by House of Pain.
Okay, that's unexpected. Especially with his kind of slow drawl that he speaks with.
Yeah. Could one of y'all walk on over to that there jukebox and hit me with a little House of Pain, please? Then it goes to Rich Girl by Jem and Alaskia.
What? Not Rich Girl by Hall & Oates?
No. He went with off another playlist called the 2070s. It's New Age, EDM, disco.
He did say he liked old songs being made new. So there we go.
Oh, which is why he has a mix of the Bee Gees' Staying Alive versus 50C TikTok remix by Roseby.
Wow.
He has Toxic Pony. That is a mix made between Britney Spears' Toxic and Pony by Genuine. And I got to tell you, I don't think I've ever wanted to listen to a song more than I do right now. Right now. Right now.
I don't recall that song by Genuine. I probably if I heard it, I would know it probably.
Would.
Okay.
I can't sing it on the air, but I'll play it for you during the break and you'll be like, "Oh, that one is sexy." It's a sexy song.
Okay.
It's a real sexy song. He's got a remix between Earth, Wind, and Fire's September, remixed by a club DJ named Eric Cupper. Can't wait to listen to that. He's got a remix between the Jackson 5, I Want You Back, and LRX. He's got Dancing in the Dark, but remixed by a DJ called Lolo. He's got, let's see, Special by Lizzo featuring SZA, followed by just the classic Good as Hell by Lizzo. He's got, let's see, what else?
I got to admit, I don't think I've ever heard a Lizzo song. So, I mean, you know.
You've heard this one because it's in like 97 commercials.
Oh, if it's in a commercial, yeah.
Check my nails. Baby, how you doing?
Okay. All right. All right, I've heard it.
It's a banger. It's a banger.
Okay.
He's got a mix called Hold Me Closer between Elton John and Britney Spears. Big Britney Spears guy is Sam Pittman. Again, my new favorite coach. He is. He's got Nobody's Love by Maroon 5, Izzo by Jay-Z, Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles, Only Human by the Jonas Brothers, then a left-hand turn to All Summer Long by Kid Rock, Son of a Sinner by Jelly Roll, Night Falls by Keith Urban, Everyone She Knows by Kenny Chesney, Actin' Up by Miranda Lambert.
All right, he turned country on me. I'm done.
Oh, don't worry. We're not done.
Yeah.
Then it's back to Summer Girls by LFO. Summer Girls Come and Summer Girls Go. Summer So High and Summer So. Banger from my high school days. He's got Hell of a Life by Frankie Ballard. Minimum Wage by Blake Shelton. I am going to say I respect the hell up out of Sam Pittman putting some George Strait Troubadour on this list. That's another one. Let's see. Let's go down a little bit. Let's get on by the country.
All right. Nothing that I've heard in there fits on a yacht, from what I understand.
All of it fits on a yacht if you're Sam Pittman.
Okay, because from what I understand of yacht rock, none of this appears to be yacht rock.
Then we go down to Ain't Nobody by Shaka Khan.
Okay. All right.
We got Payphone, a remix between Maroon 5 and Wiz Khalifa. We got a little Miley Cyrus Party in the USA. A little Doobie Brothers Listen to the Music. We got What's Love by Fat Joe and Ashanti. We got Living It Up by Ja Rule and Case. Spill the Wine by War. Spill the Wine. Like, banging list. Sam Pittman is a legend. I have already followed Sam Pittman's playlist, and I cannot wait because I will be rolling this when we're working later. It's incredible. Sit Next to Me by Foster the People. All Right Now by Free. All right now, baby. It's
all right. Hardly anything on there says I'm on stage with Foreigner, though. I mean, nothing on there says I'm on stage with Foreigner.
38 special.
Okay, all right. Now we're getting a little bit closer.
Georgia by Toto.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Wow, that's like
Sam Pittman's the best.
Wow. Out of all the Toto songs, you went with Georgie Porgy. Okay.
Then that's just the first half of what Pittman said. Then Pittman goes to the second half, which is I was on stage singing Hot Blooded with Foreigner last week. Hot Blooded.
And they turned his mic off. I'm guessing it was
got a fever of
I'm guessing it was a
103.
timing issue from listening to him talk. I'm guessing the fast stuff he
Come
probably
on, baby, do
Yeah.
you want to dance?
Yeah, I'm guessing he was
Hot
just a little bit
blooded.
behind.
Hot
Like that
blooded.
guy in church choir who has got a hearing aid. It's just a little bit behind.
Dude, this guy's incredible. This guy's incredible. Puts together one of the greatest Spotify playlists I've ever seen in my life. A playlist that Skrilla's going to be bumping at the next Triumph tailgate because
Is
it's
he?
that good.
Is he?
It's that good. It's got everything on
Come
it.
on.
Everything.
Come on.
And then he turns around and listen, it's one thing to go, yeah, I went and saw a Foreigner concert last week. It's another thing to hit me with, I was on stage singing Hot Blooded with Foreigner. And in my mind, I don't care about reality, Lonzo. In my mind, they bumped off Sam Pittman's mic because he was outperforming Foreigner.
Come on. Okay. All right.
Well, I'm a hot-blooded and check it and see. Got a favor of 103. Incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Pittman just elevated the game. Elevated it. Then, like 2 questions later, they're like, hey, you talked about celebrations in the past. What's your favorite celebration when Arkansas gets the dub? And he said, and I quote, I like a beer.
Yeah!
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 Show's going to be off the rails today, kids. I don't know what you want. It's just what we do here.
I just don't understand the rails thing. I guess there are shows that are on rails.
Oh, yeah.
They sound kind of boring, though.
All right, guys. When we come back here, we're going to take a look at Arkansas recruiting. Like, yeah, we can do that, but we can also talk about your
today,
coach.
like yesterday and last week and 3 months ago. We're going to talk Clemson versus Carolina.
Or hear me out on this. Instead of doing that, what if we talked about Sam Pittman chugging beers on stage with Foreigner, popping off into the ride home, listening to Lizzo and SZA on the remix? Let's go.
What?
Sam Pittman, you legend. All right. Yeehaw. There he is. There's Sam Pittman right there.
It sounds just like him.
Coming up on the radio broadcast today, we got Rashad Beard coming up here in about, what do we call it, about 20 minutes from right now. Then we got in about 45 minutes, Savannah Leigh to talk the Open Championship already underway because it's early there. So we'll be talking golf with her. And then at 11:20, it's time for Fight Club with the great one, where we get into boxing, MMA, and professional wrestling. All of that and more coming up on today's show. But when we come back, we go from off the rails to back on it because there is a potential interesting development taking place in the United States legislature right now around NIL, a trio, a triumvirate of senators, a bipartisan trio of senators.
What's a triumvirate?
Have gotten together and are putting together what might be the first true sweeping overhaul of legislation of NIL, and I find it interesting. We'll get into that next on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, I got a live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Fortunately, there's Insperity. Their scalable HR solutions help me with hiring, training.
All right, I know Rob's excited about Pittman's playlist. I think it's work. No way that guy listens to that stuff. It's just not. It's not real, man. It's not. Josh, when he gets back, I'll make sure that he tells you the name of the playlist again. I can look up the Google Doc that has all the stuff we're going to talk about today on, but I'm lazy. I think everyone knows that. By the time I find it, he'll be back in the room. There's lots of documentation on now.
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
Also, listening to that playlist, I got to say, felt kind of old because some of that stuff, I may know who they are, but I don't listen to it. Maybe it's a music preference, I suppose. But you have a pretty eclectic taste other than country, but, you know.
Switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
We're going abroad for the first time in years to Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Well, I thought he'd be back. He'll have to be back in a month. There he is. All right. Josh wants to know what the name of that playlist was.
Hot Springs Yacht Club.
It's a lie. That's what it is.
What do you mean it's a lie?
Because that's not what you play at a yacht club. Chris, what do I know? If you say it is, if you say it is, it must be. I've never even seen a yacht club before.
Hot Springs Yacht Club, and I'm already saved it. Courtney was listening to us on the way. She's going to a doctor's appointment. She was listening on the way to and she's like, that's our wedding reception playlist now. I was like, word, it's great.
So are yacht clubs like near the marina, or are they?
Yes,
okay,
that's where the yachts are.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's an off-site play. I don't know.
Usually you have your marina, and then the yacht club is a big building right at the marina,
So you can pull your yacht up to it.
and then go in the yacht club.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Skrilla, I fully expect some Hot Springs Yacht Club at the next tailgate.
Well, he's already said not the country part, so
That's fine. I
Yeah.
know. Listen, I'm not going to try to sell you on George Strait's Troubadour when we're trying to get hype for the boys. I get it.
Is that slow or something?
Oh yeah, but it's a legendary.
I could dream, Joe. Someday.
Noted yacht club.
You never know.
We've just inspired Lonzo to become a yacht club member one day.
You got to start playing the lottery first. Not going to get rich around here.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, any yacht club I walk to that's bumping House of Pain, when I walk in, that's the yacht club I want to be in.
All right. The fact that you said when means you've been and plan to go in the future. And how do you get invited to a yacht club?
I used to go to Cotillion. I don't know if you know what.
Yeah, you've
Cotillion is.
explained Cotillion before.
Our Cotillion was held
it's
in
a
a
one,
yacht club.
It's a 1%er thing.
Yeah, our Cotillion was held in a yacht club, the Fort Walton Beach Yacht Club, 100%. Now, it's a bit of a misnomer. It really probably should have been the Yacht Club and slightly larger John Boat Club. But
okay, you just said that so I can ask you what the heck a John boat is.
it's the little like aluminum fishing boats. Just
okay, so this has nothing to do with the red light district.
No, I was saying the
He'll
the
get it.
use
He'll get
of
it
the
in a
word. Yes, I got it. The use of the word yacht was very generous at the yacht club.
So you walked in and went,
It was more
dude,
like
that's not a yacht.
it was-
Because you would know what a real yacht looks like. Okay, all right.
It was more of a cabin cruiser club, but that doesn't roll off the tongue as well as yacht club. All right.
The CC Club? Why not?
All right, let's get this story in real quick. Like, there is a trio of U.S. senators working together to try to standardize NIL rules around the country right now. Senators Richard Blumenthal,
senators working together. Yeah, right. Sorry, I will refrain from that.
I mean, once in a blue moon, once in a blue moon. Senators Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat from Connecticut, Cory Booker, a Democrat from New Jersey, and Jerry Moran, a Republican from Kansas, are working together to try to create some NIL legislation. They are partnering to create the College Athletes Protection and Compensation Act.
Wait, do they have NIL in Kansas?
We have NIL everywhere.
I mean, for what team though?
Rashad Jayhawk, baby.
Okay.
Hey, Kansas State's had some decent teams the last few years.
Yeah, okay.
Decent.
All right.
Decent.
All right, decent as far as mid-level bowls go,
all right,
or
listen,
are we talking basketball?
You want to know what holds college football back more than anything else? This freaking attitude that you ain't playing in the playoffs, you don't freaking matter, boy.
We'll see.
That attitude kills college football.
We'll see if Kansas makes it when it's 12. I mean, it's they're not.
That right there is why I'm excited for 12. This is not the segment I'm going to have to come back to this because you have just taken me in a direction I didn't intend to go, but now we're here.
Content creator, baby.
Hashtag content cash cow. The snobby ass attitude of if you ain't in the playoffs, you don't matter is what creates this world where it's just the same 5 teams every year.
Yeah, well, those same 5 teams are really good. The rest of them are not.
Yes, because if all you pay attention to is only the top 5 teams, then they get all the money and it's just a self-repetitive cycle.
So we should cheer on the losers also.
No, I'm saying it's okay to just enjoy football if it's an undercard event.
When's the last Kansas game you watched?
They played LSU like 2 years ago.
Yeah, they played a team that
I followed Kansas when Les Miles went there just to watch the chaos.
Okay.
And it was incredible.
Okay.
This is why I'm excited for 12 teams.
Anybody out there watching Kansas? I mean, I'm just saying.
That's
you know
exactly
why?
What I'm saying,
you know why?
Lonzo.
You know why? Because they're Kansas.
I don't think you understand that you are saying exactly what I'm saying.
Rob,
why is it?
By the way,
Clemson,
the
Ohio
majority,
State, Alabama, and Georgia, because that's all.
The majority of the arguments that we've had for nearly 3 years now, we are saying the same thing. It's just
right,
different levels of intellect. I don't know, but we're saying the same thing.
You're right. I am saying this attitude of why, like, we only pay attention to teams that can win a championship.
The ones that matter,
right?
Do we pay attention to the ones that matter?
And therefore, you have just created.
By the way, I'd love Kansas if I had a kid playing for Kansas, or if I was playing for Kansas, or if I lived in Kansas, but I don't. So I'm more interested in like what a lot of people are interested in, the teams that actually win.
And therefore, you create a perpetual cycle of only the same teams winning. It's just the same teams every year, which is why whenever we get a Cincinnati or a Louisville or a UCF that jump up there and have an undefeated run.
By the way, all teams
that
didn't have a shot at it. They didn't have a shot. They were embarrassing.
When teams get there, even if they come in as big dogs, I go all in on that team because, to me, I'd like a little variety. The same 4 teams. It's Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, and that's the list.
I don't know if Clemson's in there anymore. We'll see.
So give me the 12-team playoff. Give me the 12 teams so that we can spread it around. And college football, like every other sport, is better when there's more than 2 teams that can win a title every year. It just is what it is, man. That's another reason I'm big on NIL. Because theoretically, NIL is going to spread around the talent. And I think we're seeing that already.
All right. So I looked up the final top 25 for 2022. Georgia, TCU, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Tennessee, Penn State, Washington, Tulane, Utah, Florida State, and USC all would have been in the playoff according to the rankings. You know who you don't hear in there? Kansas.
Do you think that a team...
Clemson was 13, by the way.
A team. So first off, that's not who would have gone in because that's post bowl game.
I
rankings.
know it is. I know that's the first one that came up, but I just wanted to see where Kansas was in there anywhere because we're talking about Kansas, and then further down in the top 20. Hey, there's South Carolina at 23. You know who I don't see? Kansas.
First off, the only reason you brought up Kansas is because I mentioned Jerry Moran,
which, if you look at isn't he out of place? In the three that came together to work on this, isn't he out of place?
Connecticut's a big college football
right,
area.
Right.
New Jersey.
Right.
Let's go.
No.
None
You're.
of these three are representing massive college football fan base.
Exactly.
Right.
So they don't like it. So they're going to talk about it.
No, quite the opposite. They are looking and going, okay, UConn. How do we get
basketball school?
How do we create a world in which UConn can be competitive? How do we create a world in which Kansas can be competitive?
Bring in better players. That's how you do it. Yeah, that's how you do it. So so this is about NIL. So what you're saying is they're trying to figure out how to be able to generate more money to give to the NIL, to give to players, to get players there. But I thought NIL wasn't supposed to do that.
What are you talking about? That is exactly what NIL is for. The schools cannot pay a player, but NIL is meant to create a world in which players can profit off their name, image, and likeness in a world of college football. And a byproduct of that, Lonzo, a byproduct of that is that if Bama only has X amount of NIL dollars to go around, and this kid goes, all right, I can play for Alabama and be a backup safety, and there's no NIL money for me because I'm a backup safety, or I can go to Kansas and be a starting safety and make $12,000 a year in NIL money. I'm going to do that instead. Now, all of a sudden, Kansas is picking up a little bit better players because they've got some NIL to go around.
Where was this backup safety playing? Did you say Alabama?
Yes.
So you're gonna choose not being the back. You will make NIL money as a backup, more NIL money as a backup safety at Alabama than you ever would going to Kansas.
If you want to jump in and surgically pull apart a hypothetical, you can do that.
I thought we didn't do hypotheticals.
That's all we do is hypotheticals.
I thought I heard that somewhere.
Everything's a hypothetical. The reason that you've got Blumenthal, Moran, Booker, and watch, because this is picking up momentum, you're going to start seeing other names start jumping in there as well. The reason this is a thing is because you're trying to create a system where it is level from state to state. And on top of that, keep in mind that there are a number of states right now. For instance, Texas is one of them. I think Oklahoma put rules in play where the laws of the state say that NCAA regulations cannot supersede the laws of the state. So in some states, the state has said you can't enforce the NIL regulations you do have on the books here. And what's the only way to supersede those state laws so that it is level across the whole NCAA? That's with federal legislation, right? That's why this is the big deal. Why are we pushing so hard to get the feds in here? Because some states are putting down legislation on their books at the state level that handcuff the NCAA and prevent them from being able to do anything that levels the playing field when it comes to NIL between small schools and big schools, left coast and right coast schools, et cetera, et cetera.
I guess I'm confused because I thought schools weren't supposed to be involved in NIL.
You refuse to accept that they're not. You just have created a reality in which schools are just handing out checks.
Dude, no. I thought the rules were they were not supposed to do that.
They're not doing that.
You need to calm down.
But you keep saying this thing that's wrong as if it's reality, and it's not.
What am I saying that's wrong?
Well, I thought the schools were not. They're not involved. You're correct. They're not supposed to be involved, and that's why they're not. They're not doing that. This legislation has nothing to do with what schools are doing with their money. It's about collectives. It's about the school working between them and the collectives to establish relationships.
Okay, if you're not having anything to do with it, then you don't need a relationship.
We're
This
gonna
is
have to- we gotta come back to this.
no.
We
This
gotta
is
come back to this.
this is all about wording, and this has been my problem all along. Just say you have something to do with it. Stop lying. Quit acting like, oh, we have nothing to do with the collectives. We have no. Come on, man. Just go ahead and say you're doing it, even though the rules say you're not supposed to. They're all doing that, and that's my problem with it. Is quit acting like, well, we're separate and we're apart. No, you're not. You are not. No, but all right. I'm not going to generalize, which is done a lot on radio. I don't believe that there are that many people out there that believe that the schools don't have something to do with it.
Tell you what, we got to come back to this because we got Rashad Beard coming up next, and I don't want to shortchange our Panther talk this week. So to open up the 10 o'clock hour, we're jumping right back into this. Lonzo done got my BP up. I gotta go take a pill.
Your face ain't red, man. You're good. You're underneath the fry light over there, and your face ain't red.
under the old McDonald's food reheater over here. Rashad Beard up next. We'll come back. We'll jump back into this conversation at 10 a.m. We're back after this for a little Carolina Panther football talk on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. It doesn't really put off any heat.
It doesn't. The fluorescent lights would. And that's, I mean, wonder what's inside. That's LED, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not going to do that. It's all over them daggum Braves. Can't win a game now.
Oh, that's coming too, buddy.
It's all over. This is why New Day needs to come back. You need some power of positivity.
We need some power of positivity.
Yeah, we need some of that. And they do indeed still rock, so they need to come back.
They do indeed rock.
If you're hired, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack.
Yeah, I was
Well done, Joey B.
I was pointing to that earlier. but
I figured that's what you were
yeah.
pointing out, but I just got the chance to actually read it all through. That's well done, Joey B.
Well, you can't talk and read at the same time? Gosh. Name of chapter.
I saw something trended this morning that I really want to talk about, but I don't want to talk about it in case it's on Twitter trending
Sam
topics.
Pittman's playlist.
Hot Springs Yacht Club.
No. I'm not going to. People
If you
are going
Google
to.
that'll come up.
No. That's my chapter title. So if they
Oh,
want to know what it's.
gotcha.
Yeah. Why, look, there's Rashad.
Sure is.
What's up?
What's up, big dog?
What's up? What's up?
How you doing, man?
Good. All is well.
Love to hear it.
So I have this theory that your day job is you're a spy. You don't need to confirm or deny it, but that's my theory. That's what I'm going with.
I'm not a spy.
Which is exactly what a
exactly
spy
what a
would
spy
say.
would
Yes. Yes.
I wish I had a cool job like a spy.
What is your Rashad longest Spotify playlist? How many songs are on your longest Spotify playlist?
I'm not a Spotify guy. I'm a Apple
iTunes guy?
so,
What's
yeah,
your
I'm
longest iTunes?
Man, you know what? I listen to Essentials playlist. I don't create my own. I haven't done that in a long time. But prior to that, I would probably say about maybe 25, 30 songs. Something like that.
Okay.
Knows what
I could typically find a playlist of already created for what I listen to. So I don't, I let somebody else do the hard work.
know what you like, see what you like, and just listen to what you like. Why
Yeah,
put it
that's
in?
it.
Yeah.
Sam Pittman is the head coach at Arkansas, and we were talking earlier about his playlist that he told everybody about at SEC Media Days yesterday. In fact, screw it, I'll pull it up there. This playlist is absolutely wild, man. I don't know if it shows up big enough to be red on the screen or
I
not.
can see a little bit.
It's everything from House of Pain, Lizzo and SZA, Harry Styles,
Yeah, nah,
Jay-Z,
I couldn't do that.
Kenny Chesney. Like it's the most random playlist I've ever seen, and I love it. It's incredible.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I would have to. I'm a mood music type. Like I get in a mood to listen to certain things. I can't mix different genres, and I couldn't do that.
Plus, I hope you would burn anything that had country in it, because country music, it's just
Y'all.
Yeah, I'm not really a country guy. A couple of tracks.
don't do that. Don't do. I mean, just say you don't like country. Period. Be in solidarity with me.
Got a little Prince on here. Got a little Taylor Swift. Got a little Earth, Wind, and Fire. Some Hall and Oates. Some Pitbull and Neo. Sam Pittman, a big Pitbull Neo.
I keep hearing that Pitbull is going to be in Anderson. By the way, you going?
Why?
I don't know.
I mean,
wait, why are you yelling at me? I don't know.
Why is he coming to Anderson?
Hey, nothing wrong with Anderson and all the people in Anderson listening or watching right now. We love you dearly.
If I think Pitbull, I'm not thinking of Anderson, South Carolina.
Walk it back.
So what? Is Anderson too backwoods for Pitbull? Is that what you're trying to say?
Okay. You just gonna
Walk
make
it
me
back.
look like a butthole today, ain't you, Lonzo? That's the goal. It's Thursday, which means it's time to talk a little Carolina Panther football, which means it's time to welcome in the host of the Panther Nation podcast, which you can find on social media at Panther Nation PC. More importantly, find them on YouTube at Panther Nation Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and mash that notification button, bro. It's my guy, Rashad Beard. Bro. Host of the Panther Nation Podcast, joins us every Thursday at this time to talk a little Panther football. What's up, fella?
Gentlemen, what's going on? We are so much closer to football. 1 week away. I'm ready for it. Let's get it.
Been ready. Stay ready. We got camp starting up this weekend. So let's just jump right into that. We kind of got into some of the OTA storylines the last time you were on the show, Rashad. Next time that we chat, we will be just a tick shy of a week deep in camp. Of course, we got a handful of days out of the gate for just the rookies to show up and put in a little work with installation, etc. I have said to you a couple of times, and I'll say it again, one of the things that I really appreciated out of OTAs, and I don't know if you credit Bryce Young for this or Frank Wright for this or Tepper and Fitterer for putting together a draft of impressive rookies. The end of OTAs didn't look like a team full of rookies installing plays. It looked like a team that was putting their work together, man. And I like that.
Yeah, I like that as well. I think that's a combination of having a guy like Bryce Young. The guys like him do not grow on trees. He's an extremely smart gentleman. He's picking up things well. And you got to give Frank Reich some credit with that as well, because he ultimately has to make the decision to put him in as the day one starter. And, you know, there's a lot of other teams, i.e. the Houston Texans, who have a rookie quarterback that they picked number 2 overall that they have not named as a starter yet. So you've got to credit Frank Reich for making that decision quick. And I think Bryce Young has something to do with that. So it's a combination of everything. I love what the Panthers are doing. I'm excited to see it. Hopefully it translates to the field come training camp. Hopefully we get to see it. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see him.
We are talking to Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast. And, you know, it's really an interesting spot, Rashad, because on one hand, that excites me. I love that we are looking at a QB that seemed to pick it up on the fly, like on the real quick. It seemed like we had a bunch of young guys on offense that figured out what this system is supposed to look like real early. On the flip side, there's still a lot of work. So where are you between excitement that it looked like a team that figured it out real quick in OTAs versus we still got to build a team and we're a long way from week one? Are you kind of trying to slow down that excitement just a little bit?
Yeah, I mean that's everything. That's every Carolina Panthers fan right now. We are so excited that we have a quarterback. We think we have the problem solved. We have this amazing coaching staff, But at the same time, you've got to see it play out, right? We've got to see it come the preseason. You got to see it come week 1, and we got to hit the ground running pretty early. We open the season with 2 division games, so we have no time to waste. Again, there's going to be folks that, hey, if we happen to drop those first 2 games, all the excitement is out. All the sales are out. It's all over, right? It's all doom and gloom if we lose those first 2 games. So you have to pump the brakes. And it's like, man, we're excited, but at the same time, that's exactly, I mean, you said it perfectly. That's exactly where I am. I'm super excited, but at the same time, it's like, man, I got to pump. What's this defense going to look like? New defense, new system. Who is our second cornerback? How is it going to play out? Like, there's still some questions that we have to answer. Again, I can't wait to see it, but I'm also a little apprehensive to kind of jump out the window and say, hey, division chance, we're going to the playoffs.
I was watching, pardon me, earlier this morning, the nationally syndicated show that our sister company BetQL runs. And Chris Jenks, who is the host of that show, was talking Panther football this morning. He was talking about Ejiro Evero, and he was talking about this defense. And, hey, Brian Burns got his contract offer. We'll come to that here in just a minute, because I told people yesterday, like, it's been 3 days. He hasn't signed it. Calm down. There's a reason for that. We'll get to that in a second. But he said, hey, look at what Evero did with Denver's defense last year. It was top notch. This is a guy who was being interviewed as a head coach for a handful of teams, and he ends up as the DC in Carolina. And I think this defense is going to be dominant. I said, on one hand, like, I look at the player list, especially across the front 7, and I'm like, yeah, it's got that kind of up front, but there are still questions to be answered. And I guess that kind of illustrates it, because he's sitting here saying Carolina's defense could be the reason that this team is a dark horse division winner. And he's not wrong, but I'm also going, I think people, and I'm putting Carolina fans into this group, are overlooking that while it's exciting with what BY is doing and Frank Reich's offense and the defensive talent, whatever is doing, while there's a lot of excitement there, my man, there's still a lot of questions. There's still a lot of things that have to be answered. We're not even at camp yet. Like, I'm not trying to tell Carolina fans, be less excited. I'm not. This is the most excited you should be since, like, Cam got drafted. I am saying don't be satisfied, because there's a lot left to do.
Is that a little Saints hate? I think that's what it is. I think that's what's coming out of you, man. I think we're excited. Don't try to put our shine out. Okay. I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to really get me into some doom and gloom. I'm excited. And don't try to talk us off the ledge. We're happy, and we're doing. Listen, we've got to see it play out, of course. But I do trust Evero, like you mentioned. I think we've got some defensive changes up front that are going to do well. Brian Burns, obviously, we talk about the contract in a second. But I do think that the biggest question mark that we have defensively, right, and the reason why I'm a little more optimistic than maybe one outsider would be, is that Evero is he's a secondary guy, right? And that's the biggest question mark we have. Who's going to be CB2? Who's going to play nickel? Where's Jeremy Chin how is he going to fit into all this? And I think Evero has the answers to all those questions. We just have to see it. So I'm going to let it play out. I think our defense could be a top 15, top 10 defense, but we have to see it. And I agree. Listen, we got to watch it play out, but I'm excited. And don't try to put our light out, man.
All right, hold on a damn second, Rashad Beard. I am excited for you, and here's why. I've said this on the show, and this is as brutally honest as I can be. If the Carolina Panthers win, Rob Brown makes money off it. All right, so I'm in. I'm Ric Flair in this situation. If y'all win, I get paid. That sounds great to me. Yes, right. Speaking of Brian Burns, let's talk about that. He gets the contract offer. I think Monday afternoon, it started making the circles. Now, we don't know exactly what that contract offer looks like yet. And of course we wouldn't. And we had a couple of fans hitting us up like, why didn't he sign it? Why didn't he sign it? We gave him the contract. Why didn't he sign it? There's 2 reasons. Number one is, bro, it's a negotiation. That's how this works. Offer, counter offer until you come to the middle. But the second thing is, the edge rusher market is not set yet. There are still names out there, guys like Jadeveon Clowney and Yannick Ngakoue. There are still edge rushers out there, and you want to make sure Brian Burns is paid towards the top of that list, because he is on the top of that list. You don't want to underpay the guy so that in a year or two he goes, you underpaid me. I don't want to be here anymore. Not that I think that's the case. There are reasons Brian Burns didn't just immediately jump on that contract. Panthers fans got to cool it. He's going to be in Charlotte for a while.
Yeah, I have zero concerns about Brian Burns and his deal. It'll get done when it gets done. I think Brian Burns is playing chess here because, as you mentioned, guys like Nick Bosa have not signed their deal. He's got a deal coming up. That's going to be probably the biggest deal we've ever seen in our lives, right? And so Brian Burns is just waiting it out. You saw, I think yesterday it was announced that Alex Hightower, Highsmith, the guy up in Pittsburgh, got a deal, 4 years, $68 million, who just came off of 14.5 sacks, right? But he's been nowhere as consistent as Brian Burns has, and he got $17 million per year. So if I'm looking at that and I'm Brian Burns, I'm like, haha, there's no way you're going to offer me $17 million. I've been more consistent, I've been more productive than him. And on top of that, I've been playing out of position. You've got me playing a defensive end in a 4-3, and I'm more of a stand-up edge rusher. I'll finally get a chance to show off my skill set here just this year. So I should be compensated way more than an Alex Hightower. So with that said, I think his baseline has to be 20 to 25 million. You have to get him started off at that range, and I think it'll get done. I have zero concerns. Brian Burns, he changed his number. He's going to be around. He wants to be around here. No concerns about Brian Burns. I don't think any fan should be concerned about it. It'll get done when it gets done, but the man has to wait. You can't just jump at the first thing they offer. That's not, you wouldn't do it if somebody offered you something like that. If it's negotiation, you got to let it play out, and I have zero concern about it. Brian Burns will be a Panther, and I can't wait.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly spot on. And again, I think what you just said there is interesting when you talk about guys like Brian Burns who get to play their true natural position now. That's why I really do like, if it wasn't for the fact that New Orleans has future first ballot Hall of Famer Derek Carr at quarterback this year, I think Carolina I'm not, and I say that part as a joke. I will say this part sincerely. I think if Derek Carr is not a Saint, Carolina is the favorite to win the division right now. I think I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm saying I think Vegas looks at Carr, looks at the disaster that the last year in Vegas was for him, still believes he is. Listen, I'm not putting up there with Burrow or Mahomes, but I think he's probably a third-tier quarterback, with Mahomes being a tier, with Allen, Burrow, and Rodgers being a tier, and I think Carr slots in after that. I think if Derek Carr's not New Orleans, Carolina's probably your odds-on favorite to win this division, which says to me that defensive front seven is the difference between one of those teams going 9-8 and one of those teams going 8-9, and somebody winning that division by being one game over 500.
Yeah, I agree with that. And listen, I think with what you're saying, I think you're right. All hate aside, I do think the Saints, they've got a little bit of an edge up on us. They've got some veterans that have been around. They've been together. The nucleus has been together a lot longer. They don't have the turnover at head coach like we've had. So, of course, they're going to have a little bit of an edge up. But for Panthers fans, where you should be excited is the fact that the future is ours, right? We, like 2 years, 3 years from now, we're going to own this division. And so that's where you need to look towards if things happen. We're just looking for that step up this year. And if all goes well this year, the future is going to be ours as everybody else fades to black. I think we're going to be fine. I have no problem with the Saints, winning the division potentially this year. But I think the Panthers will be in the conversation. I think we're going to be good to go.
I do not disagree at all. Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. You can find them on Twitter at Panther Nation PC. Y'all moved over to Threads yet?
So Dave and I do have a Threads account. We don't have a Panther Nation PC Threads account. But yeah, we're going to be moving over soon.
There you go. Make sure you hit them up. And then, of course, follow them on YouTube, Panther Nation PC. They go live all the time. And I suspect training camp's going to see a lot of Panther Nation PC content.
Absolutely. We're going to be out there every day. You're going to make sure you're subscribed. We're going to have a lot of reactions, a lot of live updates. So, yeah, be tuned into Panther Nation Podcast on YouTube. Check us out. Appreciate you guys.
See you next week, big fella.
Peace out, guys.
That's Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation Podcast. Again, make sure you're following them on YouTube. They are your source for all the Panthers news and information you need. We're back after this for hour 2 of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
It wasn't that loud.
I don't think you understand how loud I crank my headphones through the show. 15 years of rock and roll, my hearing is shot.
killers combine powerful active ingredients found in plants like lemongrass and geranium and scientifically engineer them into effective bug-fighting formulas, safe for use as directed around people, pets, and throughout the home. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science. Deliveries at the door. Can we send these unlocked?
It's been an eventful afternoon with a spike in bookings at Claudia's event space.
We will not be hosting an event.
She was already planning on having more event planners on hand.
500? That's a lot of sales.
Indeed can help her.
His board. That's funny.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
At Ingalls, we know your closest companions are the ones who are always there for you. The ones you trust to have your back, no matter what. Who make the hard times a little softer, and the good ones, somehow, a little better. That's what family is all about, whether they walk on 2 legs or 4. Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
I'm Mark Ryan. If you're like me, you're no interior decorator and you need a bit of help putting together an outfit that pops. I'm beyond grateful I met my friends at Smith & James Fine Men's Clothing because they make me look like I know what I'm doing. They'll help you find the best color combinations with slacks, shirts, polo suits, and so much more. There's nothing quite like surprising your sweetheart with a new getup that has you looking your best. Check out their collection today at smithandjames.com. Stop by their stores at 222 Craig Street in Greer or at their new location on Verde Boulevard in Greenfield.
Golfers, summer is here, and there's no better way to get on the course than with the Upstate Golf Card. For just $99, you'll get access to premier Upstate courses like the Preserve in Verde.
So my duster for the Star Awards will arrive Saturday. I hope it fits. I also got me a sheriff's badge.
Did you?
It'll be coming Saturday with the duster. We'll see. Still got, I haven't decided on the belt buckle. We looked at it, but by the time it would get here like the week after Star Awards, so that's not going to help. Unless, someone locally talking to the stream who can design a.
Find one on Amazon Prime and get it here on.
No, that's what we did. Yeah. Because it's custom. It has, I can find a large belt buckle, but it has to say the Lonzo on it. Especially when our names get announced and Lonzo is not announced. Because it's all about me just pulling open the duster and go, this is my name.
A Lonzo custom belt buckle.
We were looking at it and they're way too small. Like, nah, these got to be big and gaudy and visible from across the room at least. So if I can't find boots, do I go with tennis shoes or dress shoes? I'm probably thinking dress shoes because they look closer to boots than tennis shoes do.
You go and you get yourself a pair of.
I'm not going to go spend money on something that I'll wear once.
No, you get yourself a pair of Chelsea boots. They
I just don't wear boots. That's the thing.
They're not boots. They're dress shoes that look like they look like a boot on the bottom.
Yeah, I saw some stuff like that. They look like snake skin, and that
they can or they can.
We were at the secondhand store, and it's like, it doesn't fit.
Joey B up in the nerd game.
Yeah, I think we know that I can't wear Zelda stuff. That would go against my character.
Brian, we will. That's a great question. And I'm going to do next, either tomorrow or Monday. I'm actually going to do a segment on that. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, don't go nowhere. Stuff. Gable's in first break.
Gable's in the first break.
Thanks, Joe. I just don't like borrowing stuff. I might break it.
Hour numero dos to the Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is the Fan Upstate.
Hey, Rob, do you borrow? I mean, will you borrow from people? I mean, something you're only going to wear once. I know the answer to this because I've seen it happen.
you've
You
seen me do
reminded me. You reminded me of it like a day or two ago.
Gonna borrow Joey B's Triforce belt buckle.
No, I don't like borrowing things because I always am worried that that things are going to go awry. And then, especially if it's something that means something to somebody, it's like, yeah, you're the only one I'll let borrow this. Like, yeah, I probably shouldn't borrow that.
I don't know, man. I dislike responsibility by and large. Try to avoid it as much as possible.
I don't know if it's a matter of that I think I have bad luck or something like that. It's more that I am more again, people have borrowed from me and have broken things and stuff. And so I know how I felt, so I don't want to do that to somebody else, I guess.
I get it. I just for the exact same reason do not like responsibility.
Like last
so if
year,
I can avoid it by not borrowing stuff.
Yeah.
I do.
Last year when Boo Box Bets, when I lost and had to find a Clemson, well, okay, I lost a lot. All right. So that's not unusual. I had to borrow a Clemson jersey, and Tim Holcomb let me borrow one of his. And I hated every second of it because, well, first of all, it was Clemson, but second of all, I had to borrow it from somebody. And I just don't like, I think maybe jerseys are different. Maybe I feel a little bit different about jerseys because borrowing a jersey, you can't break a jersey. I guess you can rip it up or something.
Stain it.
Yeah, you could. You could.
Not trying to live that life. Not in the least.
Especially if you're a heavy sweater, you might put something,
All right.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I am,
All right.
but I've seen people who are.
All right. Lonzo tell it on himself.
What, does sweat bother you?
All right.
Is that like moist or some other word that bothers you?
Not have an issue with I don't have an issue with that word like a lot of people do. Right? Sweat's gross. It's just gross. All right? It's just gross. It is what it is. It is what it is.
All right, Joseph's trying to push the belt buckle on me now. Come on, Joe. It's Zelda. I can't wear Zelda. Zelda's for children. I think I've said that many times. So, but I appreciate it. We're going to the Star Awards in just a couple of weeks. We got a shot at winning Best Sports Show in the state of South Carolina. And Rob has a good opportunity to win Sportscaster of the Year. I hope he wins it. I hope he takes down the king. It's going to be an amazing thing. He might click his boots together because it's a hoedown. I mean, cowboy hats, the whole thing. Bought my first cowboy hat. Got a duster coming Saturday. Got me a sheriff's badge because, we're going to run that place. But I need a belt buckle.
You do.
You probably have them, don't you?
About 8. Got to decide which one I want to wear.
Well, what matches the sparkly jacket? See, I'm going as a cowboy. You're going as a rhinestone cowboy.
Judge me, dog. It's going to look good.
Getting cards and letters from people you don't even know.
Judge me, bro. Can't wait.
Well, everybody's going to be judging you. And hopefully the judging will end up being a victory for us.
There's only one set of judges I give a damn about.
Yes, that's right.
Only one.
That's right. And we'll post plenty of pictures and things like that. And it's also proof that we don't say this enough, that the Fan Upstate is the best sports radio station in all the state of South Carolina. And we proved it again this year.
Dominant. All right. I want to flip back to this conversation. 3 U.S. senators, a Republican and 2 Democrats.
I was trying to keep it away from
I know you were. That's why I was just sitting here quietly. I was just waiting for the chance to
You're fuming. You're boiling.
3 U.S. senators, a Republican and 2 Democrats, have released a bipartisan discussion draft of federal legislation that would standardize name, image, and likeness nationally while providing college athletes medical protections. This, according to Ross Dellinger, writing on behalf of Yahoo Sports. The trio is comprised of Senators Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, a Democrat, Cory Booker from New Jersey, also a Democrat, and Jerry Moran, a Republican from Kansas. They are partnering together to create the College Athletes Protection and Compensation Act. Booker and Blumenthal are, of course, both left-leaning lawmakers from the Northeast and 2 of the loudest critics of NCAA leaders. Moran is a staunch conservative from Kansas. Now, what's interesting about this partnership, and I agree with Dellinger on this point, what's interesting about this alliance, if you will, is that it has obviously taken some time to draft this act that they have put together. But they've done it in almost complete secrecy. This is the first we've heard about it. And I'm pretty tuned into this stuff. This is the first we've heard about it. Now, the initial knee-jerk reaction from folks that cover college football for a living is that this is the first true step forward in the feds doing anything in regards to NIL. And the reaction that we have gotten on this station quite a bit has been, I don't want the feds involved. Why are the feds involved? Can we not get it done without the feds involved? And, 98% of the time, I would fall in line with that. But sometimes the realization is there that, no, you cannot create a level landscape without the feds involved. And we are seeing that now. We are seeing that now because there are, as we have brought to you on this show, there are some states that have created legislation that gives them either a step forward or a step backwards, depending on how those bills are written. There are states like Texas that have created laws that effectively prevent the NCAA from enforcing the regulations and guidelines that are already on the book. This is one of the things that folks like Saban and Beamer and Staley, when they've gone to Capitol Hill, have been talking about. Now, I have said a number of times, if you want the feds to do something, you need to present a couple of things. Number one, you need to present the actual problem, not a boogeyman of a problem. Not a whisper of a problem. You need to say, here's the problem and here's its consequences. And we need these things fixed. And so far, there's really, in my opinion, only been one. There's only been one. And that is different states are creating different state-level legislation about NIL. And it is creating a world in which State A gives its colleges and universities a definite leg up on State B. Problem number two, I think, that has come up is that some states are writing legislation, and you're not going to convince me this isn't intentional. This isn't an accident. But some states are coming up with legislation that basically neuters the NCAA's ability to do anything. They can put all the guidelines they want down in the world. But the legislation makes it to where the NCAA can go in and go, you broke our guideline, you can't do this. And the state goes, whoa, 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 actually they can. Actually they can. The state law says they can do this, and our state law supersedes your organization law. Now, what's interesting about that is this is really the only place that is a situation that has to be dealt with, right? For instance, there are states within the Southeastern Conference that the NCAA and the SEC could not step in and go, hey, per our NIL regulations and guidelines, you can't do that thing, because the state goes, actually, yes, they can. It is permitted under our state laws, and we have a law on the books that says you can't enforce them doing this thing. You can't make them not do this thing. But this is the only circumstance they've done that. For instance, the SEC put into play a rule that you can't storm the field anymore. And a rule that if you storm the field, not only will you be penalized heavily for it, but that penalty goes to the school that you storm the field against, right? So if Bama comes to the house and you beat them and you storm the field after the game is over, and you get hit with a $500,000 penalty, not only do you have to pay the $500,000 penalty, but a large chunk of that goes to the University of Alabama. You're literally giving your opponent money to storm the field. They were trying to figure out a way to prevent fans from wanting to do that. It's not, hey, my school's got to pay $500,000. Who cares? They're rich. Now it's, my school's got to give money to a rival. Nah, I'm less inclined to do it, right? And no state legislator stepped in to stop that from being the reality. Nobody stepped in and said, actually, you can't, by state law, prevent them from doing this. You can't, by state law, do that. They can do that if they want to, and you can't find them. But we've done that for NIL. And of course, right? Because there are going to be some states that are going to go, wait a minute. If we write this law, if we create this legislation that prevents the NCAA from getting involved with NIL stuff, including regulating their own guidelines, their own policies, their own procedures, we can give the teams in our state a working advantage over teams in other states. We can give them a working advantage, get them some dubs, and put us on the map. Get more students in, get better players in, increase visibility via sports. And we know for a fact that visibility in sports works. As I pointed out on the show, what was it, Wednesday or Thursday? We had Drew Ingram from Furman in here after Furman went to the NCAA tournament and knocked off the 1 seed Virginia. And when we did that, or 5 seed, 4 seed, whatever they were, it doesn't matter. When they did that, Drew came in here a handful of days later, and he said, traffic to our website jumped. What did he say? Like 300% over a span of a week and a half. Over the span of the next week and a half of the tournament, every time Furman's victory over Virginia was mentioned, traffic to Furman's website spiked. Sports increase visibility. And so legislators are going to go, if we give every working advantage we can to this school, visibility increases, number of students coming here increases, therefore money into the school increases, which therefore means the quality of education, fingers crossed, increases as well. So these 3 senators have said, all right, let's step in and craft federal legislation, because federal legislation will supersede the state legislation, which means this is why the picture comes into focus. This is why the NCAA has been spending so much time on Capitol Hill. It is because they need the federal legislation to be levied to give them any sort of ability to actually enforce the legislation that they already have in place. That's what this was about the whole time. Now, the interesting aspect of this is the bipartisan side of it, is the fact that you have got Cory Booker and Richard Blumenthal on one side and Jerry Moran on the other. They are polar opposites in terms of political philosophy. So what is it that brought them together? Well, on one hand, I think you've got Blumenthal there who kind of calms down the leadership of the NCAA, right? Because Booker specifically has been a perpetual outspoken critic of the NCAA's leadership. So if you want Cory Booker involved, you got to have somebody that offsets. That's Moran. That's where he comes in. But at the same time, you don't want to do this in a way where players are going to come feel like the NCAA went to Congress and the NCAA basically took back a lot of the gains that were made in the NIL world. That's where Booker and Blumenthal come in. They are going to lean more towards the direction of workers' rights, players' rights, right? So, according to Dellinger, as part of the NIL policy, the act, number 1, permits schools to restrict an athlete from entering a deal that is contrary to the school's code of conduct for moral reasons. Now, this is interesting. If you're a BYU player, you're probably not going to catch an NIL deal with a cigarette company, right? If you are at a school, you're probably, if they are a school that has a no gambling moral clause, you're probably not going to be able to pick up an NIL deal with DraftKings. Maybe there's a school that's totally fine with gambling, and you can. That's up to them. Number 2, prohibits compensation to be used for inducements with recruits and retention of current players. This one's already on the books. This is already an NCAA guideline. You cannot tell a recruit, hey, if you come here, we will give you X amount of dollars. Can't do it. You also cannot tell a kid who's looking at the portal, hey, if you stay on board, we will give you X amount of dollars. Now, are there going to be crafty ways around that? Are there going to be crafty ways around that? Like, hey, I don't know, every offensive lineman that plays here at the University of Offensive Linemen gets a $10,000 NIL deal just for being on the roster. You're not offering it to any specific player. You're just saying that's an NIL deal that comes along with playing here. Is that against the rules? I don't know. We're going to have to dive deeper in. I frankly don't have a problem with it at all. Some people do. It's subjective. That's why this is interesting. Number 3, prohibit schools from representing athletes in NIL ventures or influencing an athlete's choice of a representative. So schools can help you. For instance, when we were over at Clemson's media open house on Tuesday, one thing that I found was very cool was that in their recruit studios, Clemson had actually built a really nice podcasting room. All right. It had a leather couch and a couple of leather chairs with built-in mic boom stands that came around and headphone jacks built into the chair. Had a mixing board over in the corner that a producer director could sit at. They built a studio pod. Why would they do that? Because if Will Shipley can do the whatever interesting title podcast he wants to call it, I had a few, but none of them weren't risking me getting dump buttoned. If Will Shipley wants to do a podcast and Big Bob's Used Cars wants to pay Will Shipley $5,000 a month to be the NIL sponsor of his podcast.
The boat pod with Will.
I was going to go take in a boat with Will Shipley.
Mine was more classy.
Yeah, I don't go for classy. But if he wanted to do that pod and somebody was willing to sign an NIL deal with him to get their business name dropped on that pod, Clemson cannot organize that pod. They can't help Will negotiate the deal on that pod.
All right, so I've been silent. You keep saying they can't.
Right.
That's not true. They absolutely can behind closed doors where people don't know about it. They absolutely can do that. Those $500 handshakes happened everywhere back in the day. Everyone knew about it. Everyone, I believe a lot of people believe, like me, that they are organizing it. I'm not being specific to Clemson. I'm talking about a good portion of these colleges are enticing athletes to come to their school and saying that they will get paid.
Okay. I'm not going to say that's wrong. I'm not going to say that's wrong. What I am going to say is, okay, if you would like to bring evidence of this happening at any particular school forward, I will be happy to be first in line to say they should be subjected to penalties moving forward, and penalties that impact only the school, not the players. But just saying, yeah, sometimes people do bad things and break the rules. We know that, right? The banking system is rife with people internally that are constantly breaking, bending, and violating rules to benefit themselves and themselves only. That does not mean I walk into my bank and go, you all suck and you should all be in jail. But when somebody comes forward and says this guy's running a Ponzi scheme, or this guy's skimming interest off of somebody's checking account and saving it for themselves or whatever, I will absolutely say we need to bring the hammer down on that guy. So that's kind of part and parcel with literally everything. In every organization, in every system, there is someone who is going to bend or break the rules for their own betterment. Of course there are. And like every other system, if you bring them forward and shine a light on it, I will be the first one to say they should receiveth the smacketh down. But what I'm not going to say is we should take away a system that benefits the players because a couple of the colleges are breaking the rules.
By the way, I'm not suggesting that you take it away. It's there now. I mean, it'll be there forever. Don't take it away. but don't pretend like the school's not involved. That's the part that bothers me the most.
The part I have a problem with is that you are incorporating every school into a phrase of every school is doing this thing that is breaking the rules and they're not supposed to. That's not fair. I think it's fair to say some schools are. I'm sure that you're right if you say some schools are. And I am, again,
I don't believe I ever said every. And
You just did.
as well, if I did, I apologize.
I'll say you insinuated it.
So we can go back and listen
Yeah,
and
you
find out. And if I
insinuated.
actually said it, then I apologize. I don't think I did, but it's possible. What it comes down to for me is don't hide it. If you're doing it, say you're doing it. And they can't because the rule says they can't. And I also have a problem with the feds coming and trying to change state laws. State laws are there for a reason. There's probably some other laws that you don't like that they probably should come and change that actually mean something to everybody, not just football fans.
So I have no problem with state law being made that impacts residents of that state. Although we can get into a pretty harsh philosophical thing about, well, you can't do this in this state. Okay, well then move. Well, it's really not that easy to just up and move. Like that's the idealistic world is if you don't like that state, move. It's not that easy. Moving's expensive. Trust me, I've done it.
I was gonna say it is for some people.
Yeah, but not
how long you been here?
Ordinarily, the types of laws and rules that we're talking about are laws and rules that impact more disadvantaged people. You're going to wake up Liberab the woke warrior. Let's move on. All right. This is a different case.
Like he's been asleep during this entire conversation.
This is a different case because all 50 states have college football programs that are impacted. And so if the state of Alabama says you can, and the state of Texas says you can't, and Alabama receives a dramatic edge, you have now tilted the playing field with nothing that, in a way that has nothing to do with coaches or players and the people who perform this event we all love.
Sorry. If you go to Kansas or you go to Idaho or you go someplace out there and you think you're going to make NIL money, you're probably not.
You're a college football snob.
You're probably not. Those schools are not going to win. You're not going to make money there. If you're about making money because you don't think you're going to make it to the NFL and you want to make it to the NIL, good for you. Go somewhere where you could actually make money.
You're a
Kansas.
college football
snob.
snob.
I never said I wasn't. I mean, you're acting like this may be.
I think this just clicked to me. You're a college football snob.
I understand. If I'm a good player and I want to make money, I'm not going to Idaho. I'm going to Alabama. I'm going to Ohio State. I'm going to Clemson. I'm going to a team that is in the hunt for the national championship. You know why? Because there's going to be more money there.
Alabama has 85 scholarships. Texas has 85 scholarships. Florida State, Florida, Miami, they all have 85 scholarships. There are thousands upon thousands of prospective college football players. They can't all go to Alabama.
Do you think preferred walk-ons can get NIL?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, that's above the 85 scholarships.
But do you think a college walk-on is going to get the equivalent of college tuition?
I will say that
Absolutely not.
a college walk-on at NIL or at Alabama or some of these other big name schools will make more than a scholarship athlete at Idaho or Wisconsin.
No, they will not.
Or not Wisconsin.
Absolutely not a chance.
Wisconsin,
you are talking to go to Alabama,
Got that cheese
especially if you. Here's the deal. The reason I went to UWF and not LSU, like I wanted to growing up, was because LSU was
because you, like
to,
me, were not the premier athlete that we thought we were.
Shockingly enough, I know, was because LSU's out-of-state tuition was going to set me back not just six figures, but a chunk six figures. Whereas going to school in Florida was going to set me back not that. So I was jacked until I got that first year tuition bill, and it was going to be $100K a year out of state tuition plus. Wasn't going to do it. You think those walk-ons are getting $100K in NIL? Not a chance. Not a chance.
I don't know. I don't know. This is new ground, and I guess we could probably research it and find out. But I'm guessing a preferred walk-on at one of those schools is going to make more money than a scholarship athlete somewhere else.
They're not making tuition. All right. They're just not. So you got to go somewhere else. You got to go to an Idaho. You got to go to a Kansas. And to say, yeah, I'm good with legislation, state to state, that screws Kansas and Idaho when they could be picking up players and spreading the talent across more of college football, I just fundamentally disagree with you. We got to take a break. When we come back, Savannah Leigh is going to join us on the radio broadcast. Savannah Leigh is our golf insider and expert, a staff writer for SB Nation. We'll talk a little Open Championship when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Gables.
All right, guys, got another live read. Then we'll have Savannah when we come back. Don't go nowhere. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to tell you about our friends at the Gables on Pelham. I don't know about you, but I like to do things. I like to do stuff. I like to be out and about. I like to be involved in activities and organizations, and I'd like to do stuff. And if you find yourself in need of a retirement community, that's not going to stop. You still want to be active. You still want to live a fulfilling life. And that is why, if you do have a retirement community in your future, I want you to reach out to the Gables on Pelham at thegablesonpelham.com. It is because they have stuff for you to do to live that fulfilling and independent life. They do constant outings to local restaurants and attractions. They've got bingo and game night. They've got walking clubs, veterans clubs, arts and crafts clubs, cooking classes, technology classes, afternoon socials, shopping trips, live music at the facility, knitting club, video games, fitness classes, evening movies, birthday lunches, holiday parties, and more. And at the community, that's just the stuff they do. At the community itself, they have a beauty and barbershop. They have a private dining room. They have beautiful landscape grounds. They have an outdoor porch to sit and spin a yarn. Courtyard and garden, game room, piano to play, wellness center, therapy room, walking paths, postal services, computers, business centers, Wi-Fi access. They have the opportunity for you to live a fulfilling, enjoyable, and independent life. So if you or someone you love sees a retirement community in your future, All right, folks. Take the video down. There we go.
We're proud of that. And that's why we focus on helping homeowners prepare for what's next. Our local mortgage bankers have the experience you need and exceptional personal service you'll appreciate. Home Trust Bank is
What do they call a
ready to help you
ponytail
house
on top?
your home.
When you don't have enough hair. It's
Uh,
a top knot.
When you don't have enough. No, it's not a knot unless it's a knot.
Okay. Well, it looks like a pineapple. What is that?
A bun?
No, but it's loose.
Oh, a high or a top pony, I think it's called.
Every day you've grown up listening to audio. Is it radio, music, podcasts? Whether you know it or not, you're the kind of listener Odyssey wants to talk to. Right now, Odyssey has the kind of careers you're looking for. Careers in programming, sales, customer support, and many more. Odyssey offers great benefits. And
This is why you don't really want me to small talk, because this is my small talk. It's just a bunch of questions.
Sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth.
That's an excellent question, Trey, but I can't answer it. Remind me to tell you later what a caller wanted me to convey to you.
Okay.
That I can't.
I was wondering what that phone call was about.
This reminded me of it. So I can't really talk about it on the stream. I don't know. Should that play now? Because today is Thursday. That shouldn't play till Friday. Well.
The last major of the golf season is underway. The Open Championship taking place right now at Royal Liverpool. And to talk a little golf, we have longtime friend of the show and friend of mine both on and off the air. She is a staff writer for SB Nation, where she works on the playing through side of things. She is Miss Savannah Leigh joining us here on the show. Savannah, welcome back, young lady. It's so good to have you as always.
Hello. Happy breakfast golf week. I'm so excited. You hit me at the perfect time because I am just like gelling and vibing and just enjoying every single minute.
Did you wake up at 3:30 to watch live?
No, I'm not even gonna lie. No, I knew Rory and Victor and them weren't teeing off until right about now, so I woke up about 6 instead and just kind of cruised from there.
That's the best you're gonna get out of me. I'm gonna get up when I get up. Listen. There are some events I will wake up for. I'm not waking up for Olympic qualifying at 3 a.m. I'll wake up for a gold medal match. I'm not waking up for the opening round of the Open Championship, but I'll jump up around 6 a.m. when the top guys are going off.
For sure. Like tomorrow, I'll probably get up early because Rory and them will have an earlier tee time. But unless it's guys like him, I'm not. I learned my lesson last year when I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and tried to power through, and it was just not. It's worth it, but only on like Saturday and Sunday when things are actually going to like start moving and grooving.
There's not enough monsters in the fridge. There's just not. Savannah Leigh joining us here on the show to talk a little golf. Let's start elsewhere and then circle back around to the Open Championship. Savannah, we have actually not had you on, and I realize, and this is my bad, and I apologize. We have not had you on since the merger news of a couple of weeks ago that there was some behind the scenes deals going on, and Jay Monahan had accepted a deal with the Saudis to get them more involved. We did have a number of discussions about it, and I had some people tell me that they kind of feel like Jay Monahan laid down, right? Like the Saudis basically own the sport of golf now. What was your knee-jerk reaction to that announcement?
I kind of feel similarly because of how anti-live he was and super 9/11 supporting he was to begin with, and then he kind of went 180 and he had other people doing brokering the deal, and that kind of felt shady. Then he didn't tell the players, which felt more shady. look, I'm all for bringing golf together and having Brooks and Cam Smith and all of those guys play against the best in the world because they are part of the best in the world. But at the same time, like, don't do it in a shady way. And I feel like they did do it in a shady way, which is now brought on the Senate hearings and the DOJ and everything else. And so it's kind of caused like a little bit of a domino effect. Do I think it'll eventually go through? Yeah. Do I think it'll be good for the game? Yeah. Hesitantly saying yes, because I think when you're able to bring golf together, it's going to win because you're not trying to pull people apart at all times. And you're going to get to see the best play against the best. But knee-jerk reaction was definitely like, wow, y'all are really going to take this stance. But it also goes to show, like, there's probably some other things that we still don't know about going on behind the scenes that forced them to kind of get to this point.
It was interesting because, you know, the whole concept, the whole premise, Savannah, of it's the Saudis trying to whitewash their image with sports. It's like, on one hand, do I agree it's good for golf if we put golf in a vacuum, if it's only golf? Yeah, sure. Of course it is. Not only do you have the best playing in the best tournaments against each other, but to have a different flavor of golf isn't bad to me. If you want the traditional feel, the PGA Tour is still going to play over here, at least for now. If you want a more kind of modern feel to golf, the LIV Tour is working in that direction. That's not the issue. The issue is, unfortunately, the politics. And there are places where I'm fine with going, leave the politics out, right? And then there are places where you go, you can't really not discuss it. And it kind of feels like golf has not just like crossed that line, they pole vaulted over it.
Oh, yeah. And you kind of have to force it in there because of the 9/11 stuff and because of the other things that Saudi Arabia has done with the journalists and other things. I'm not ignoring that at all. But at the same time, it's hard because you want to continue to have great golf and you want to continue to enjoy the sport. But there is a line that is definitely getting crossed. I hate politics. I try to stay away from them at all costs because that's just something that I don't necessarily deem worthy of talking about and forming relationships on. But like with this, it's very touch and go. It's very touchy because if you're like, yeah, I'm all in, like, let's do it. I don't care if the Saudis and blah, blah, blah. Like, you're like, oh, so you don't care about X, Y, and Z. And no, I do, but it's a very, very like gray line, very touch and go. I want golf to thrive because I think golf is one of the best sports in the entire world. I don't think it gets enough love. I don't think it gets enough appreciation. And so if this is one of the ways that we have to do it, that's great. One of my favorite lines, and it's a terrible line, but like the Jimmy Dunn guy that brokered the deal, like he flat out was like, if any of the people involved with this Saudi stuff were directly involved with 9/11, I'm going to kick their butts myself. And I was like, what now? He said that in public space, I think on air somewhere. And so I was like, okay, well, you know, this guy from wherever he's from, I think he is from New York, but he now lives in Florida. You know, we're going to let him handle it. But I like to see how it's going to go because at this point, it's so much still in the air that things could completely look differently by the time they actually settle this deal. I think we got a lot more answers from the Senate hearings and stuff. But at the same time, I still think no one really knows what's going on except the people that are directly involved. And until they have that settled, I don't think we will.
All right, Savannah Leigh joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Savannah covers golf for SB Nation, where she is a staff writer. You can follow her on Twitter at SportsGirlSL, and a wonderful follow it, of course, is. Let's talk a little bit about the Open Championship, the British Open, whatever you want to call it. It is at Royal Liverpool. This one up on the Irish Sea, just outside of Liverpool, and this one's interesting. I think we traditionally think about the Open Championship, Savannah, as links play. You're going to get a lot more flat terrain with kind of the gentle slopes and the rolling hills, but it is also very weather based against the Irish Sea. You're going to have a lot of moisture in the air. You're going to have a lot of wind speed and changes in direction throughout the day. Based on what you've seen so far in round one and your knowledge of the course and the conditions, what does this tournament look like through Sunday?
I think we're going to see some carnage moving forward. I think there's going to be a little bit of weather coming in tomorrow through Sunday. So that's going to definitely flip it. Today, in my opinion, is where golfers are going to have to either score or hopefully get the good tee time for tomorrow and hope for the best. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit here now, but definitely going to be, we're not going to see 30 under numbers. Thank God. I'm tired of seeing those. But we're going to see a lot of challenging things. I think guys kind of that you're not necessarily used to playing well or contending or going to this week. Tommy Fleetwood is shot a 66, and he's not somebody that I'm saying that doesn't contend, but we saw him kind of fall short a few weeks ago. His game's in a great place. I just kind of hope he can do it because he's 30 miles from the area, 30 miles away. Anyway, I love the Open. The Open is my second favorite major outside of the Masters. I really like Hoylake and Royal Liverpool. I really like what they have done with it. I like the challenge of it, the longness of it, the way that the winds and stuff move like in different ways across the entire course. I love a good challenge, and this week we're going to see that. But I also think we're finally going to get to see the carnage that we haven't seen, that we didn't get to see for the U.S. Open, and we're going to get to see fans too. So. Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a ramble, but yeah.
I am interested. I think my favorite thing, you've got 11 par fours on this course. 7 of them are over 450 yards long. You've got 3 of the par threes on this course that are over 200 yards long, which means that if you are going to win this tournament, it's not, I mean, listen, length off the tee is great, but on some of these par fours, you're going to go length off the tee and still be sitting there with 150 yards to go to get on board. You're going to have some mid to long iron game that's really impressive to win this tournament. Also, last year we played this in Scotland in the midst of a drought. This year, it's going to be much, much different. So you're going to have a lot of distance, and there's an inch of rain expected pretty much every day during this tournament. Who does that favor in your mind if you had to pick me 2 or 3 favorites? So
as I picked Victor Hovland to win this week because I think that's where his game is. His short game has improved so much, but he's such a ball striker. And I think that's going to really play into it this week. He's got to be able to play into the wind, play against the wind, shape those shots. And so he's somebody that I'm really hoping pulls through. Rory's another because of how well he played in Scotland last week. And his long irons looked really sharp. Looks like he's done a lot of work in terms of honing in on those, and his putting finally started coming together. We actually saw him make some putts that we haven't seen him make all season. So those are 2 guys for sure. But I also, I like Tommy Fleetwood. I think Tommy Fleetwood could play really well here if he can keep it together mentally for 4 days. Brooks Koepka is another guy that's sneaky. He shot my 1 under today, and that's just in the hunt because when that weather kicks up or the rain comes in, that 1 under could shoot him up the leaderboard like a quickness. So there's a few names there, but Cam Smith is another one. I, don't necessarily think he's going to defend his title, but he's one of the best putters in the country, in the world. And so you can't ever count him out. But I'm going with Vic and Rory as my 2 guys to really watch because of how good their game is. Especially Victor, because I think after the win at Memorial, he kind of saw what it took to do something like that. And he grew up a lot. And I called it like his first big boy win. And he's kind of carried it in there. I think he was runner up at PGA. He's played the majors, last few majors really well, and outside of a 19th finish. And so he's my guy. I love Victor Hovland. And I think his game fits this course really well.
Did Cam Smith, and I may have seen this incorrectly, and I'm going to ask you a question that's going to impact Lonzo's mood. Did Cam Smith cut the mullet? Please tell me I didn't see that Cam Smith cut the mullet.
No, it's still all
right.
All right, we're good. We're good over here.
Yeah, Lonzo was in a brief panic. Cam Smith's the only golfer Lonzo likes. He liked other ones, but then he saw Smith's hair, and then he was all in.
I was a Fleetwood guy, and then he cut his hair off. So
well, Tommy's hair's back long. It's back to the flow. It's not super long, but it's just flowy enough to where it reminds you of the flow when he had it before.
At his greatness, at his peak. Savannah Leigh covers golf for SB Nation. You can see her work over there on the Playing Through blog, and you can follow her on Sports Talk Media at SportsGirlSL on Twitter. Are you on Threads yet, Savannah Leigh?
Oh, yes. I'm on Threads. I've been on Threads. It's Savannah _Leigh_sports because that's my Instagram name. I'm working on getting it changed, but that's a process in itself.
It really is. Are you more Threads or more Twitter right now? Be real.
Well, Twitter because it's just a habit,
Yep.
but I appreciate Threads because it reminds me of when Twitter was at its best.
Savannah, thank you very much. We'll talk to you very soon, young lady. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks so much, Rob.
You're the best. That is Savannah Leigh at SportsGirlSL on the Twitter device. We're back after this to wrap up hour 2 on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Are we being
Yeah.
we're gated?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've handled it.
I saw that. I appreciate that.
But I have to go pee. So.
I'm on it now. All right, guys, give me 10 seconds to clean up the mess. We'll be right back. Yeah, dude, I'm 100% down. Shoot me an email, rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. We'll put a round together. You do not have to twist my arm all that hard to play golf. I am going to warn you. I suck. My goal is break 90.
Sandbagger.
My goal is break 90.
He's sandbagging.
It's very much not.
He's sandbagging.
Lonzo's never seen me golf.
He's an ace, man, or whatever they call it in golf. He's
Yeah, let's go with that. My dude, I am
I mean, he's not Diesel.
I'm
because he's not that, but he's not
Diesel
bad.
and I are probably on the same level. The difference is Diesel started like a year ago, and I've been golfing since I was like 16. That's not. I actually used to be decent, like a mid to upper 70s on my best day. Now it's fallen to like if I break 90, I had a great day. I don't know why.
Dude, he grew up on a golf course,
and I'm still bad. That's literally the point.
He'll take your money. I'm just saying.
Wrapping up our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Lonzo, I have wonderful news to report here.
Yeah.
The horns down sign is no longer a 15-yard penalty once Texas joins the SEC.
That's good to know.
That's great to know.
That's really good
Great
to
to
know.
know. The SEC has announced that horns down, unlike in the Big 12, will no longer be an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. John McDade is the Southeastern Conference's coordinator of football officials.
And he said, nah, man, we ain't doing that.
Said, weak. Get that out of here. That's weak, bruh. He told Brett McMurphy, quote, unsportsmanlike conduct needs to fit one of three categories. Is it taunting an opponent? Is it making a travesty of the game? Is it otherwise compromising our ability to manage the game? There's a difference between a player giving a signal directly in the face of an opponent as opposed to doing it with teammates celebrating after a touchdown or on the sideline. To net all that out, every single occurrence is not an act of unsportsmanlike conduct. So if you run over to the Texas bench and you drop the horns down right in front of their players, you're going to catch 15. But if you're running into the end zone and you hang it out to dry in front of the fans, you're not going to get flagged.
So, but
good
what
job,
if,
Southeastern Conference.
what if you run over and do that and either or yell rock and roll or go NWO?
No,
they can't
both
see.
of those are horns up.
Yeah, but they can't. I mean, you know.
You go horns down.
Yeah, but
this is a hate crime.
They can't see where the other fingers are, and you can say I was just doing NWO.
Listen, first off, everybody knows the two sweet ski. All right, everybody knows what that is. You're not fooling anybody. All right, you're not fooling anybody. By the way, our colleagues and partner in crime on Tuesday, I went on Offsides with Mark Ryan, and I want you to know that while we were having the discussion about Clemson's media day and we were bringing up Clemson versus FSU for an ACC title game, he said, I'm sorry, Rob, I don't know why everybody's picking Florida State. Isn't it true that to be the man, you have to beat the man? And I want you to know I dropped the woo on his show. All right, I did it. Needed to be done.
And then you know what he did? I'm sure he pretended to not know what that was.
Whoa!
Oh, wow.
I knew it was coming.
No. That was Simon. I
saw you lining
man,
it
we
up.
need to go to break after that.
Everybody knows the two sweet ski. Everybody knows the don't turn your back on the wolf pack. We all know it. Horns down, no longer a hate crime, ladies and gentlemen. You're allowed to do it. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, the Southeastern Conference got this one right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Hour number 3 is going to be lit on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Come on. No way we could have timed that any better. You want to take all the credit for it? That's fine.
I don't.
That's
like
fine.
I said, I saw you setting it up.
Yeah, but
and I was like, we got this.
let's face it, my trigger finger hasn't been steady this week. So, I mean, there was a shot that it was off, but it was not. So. That might be one of the most favorite things that's ever happened here for me. All right, not, but it was still, it's high on the list. Yeah, struggle with saying Royal Liverpool. Weimer. I don't know why that's funny.
And that was the final from Brewers Radio. The MLS All-Stars took a 5-0 loss from Arsenal last night in D.C. And the Colonial Athletic Association is now the Coastal Athletic Association as its footprint continues to grow along the East Coast. The conference is keeping its CAA logo. I'm Andrew Bush.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio. CBS Sports Radio.
We're going abroad for the first time in years to Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
Notice you were on playing last night. Were you able to do any missions? Did you find some peeps?
I have turned Grand Theft Auto 5 into a NASCAR simulator. I'm just racing.
Oh,
constantly.
why not? I mean,
Constantly. And I didn't know this. So people can go in and players can build custom tracks. And so there are people who have built NASCAR tracks effectively. And there are different ones. There are some that are just classic old ovals. There's one that I love running that has a figure 8 where there is a spot where the two tracks cross.
Cool.
And so when you come up to that
are you
point,
trying to avoid or are you trying to hit?
it's blind. There's walls
okay.
blocking, right? So you can't see when they're coming out. It's a blind intersection. So you just got to gas through and hope the luck is with you when you do, right? And it's really interesting. I had this discussion on Reddit the other day because there are people like me who go in there and they're genuinely trying to race. I'm not trying to. A lot of these tracks are elevated up over the city and there's no walls on the outside. So if you get pushed off the track, your truck falls down into the city and you have to go back to a checkpoint. So there are people that are trying to win the race and you are racing like it is a racetrack, like it is a race simulator. And then there are people whose sole mission in life is just to be an agent of chaos. They're driving backwards on the track. Their only job is to try to shove you off the wall, try to knock you off the track and fall to your death.
Yeah, I would absolutely try to do that.
And so it's just it's an interesting dichotomy of figuring out, all right, who's trying to race and who's trying to just ruin my evening. But what I love about it is that making money takes time in this game. First place in a 30-person race can net you like $25,000 for like an 8-minute race. Versus missions, which can take half an hour and net you the same price. So I've literally went from robbing grocery stores to I log in, I go straight to the racetrack, and I'm just racing for an hour and a half.
That's cool. Have they made it where you can have guns on your car yet?
Not in the races, but in the game, yes. You can buy a war truck that has dual 50 cows sticking out of the front of it, and it wrecks shop, dude. But as soon as you use it, you go right to 5 stars, and the cops are bringing out the SWAT team.
How does it work on that?
You can blow up their SWAT cars quick. The problem is now they bring helicopters with missiles on you.
Oh, okay. Help me watch, by the way.
Yep.
Because I don't know about that last one. But now I'm a little trigger happy.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
To learn more.
Hey, Rob, you look like you like cupcakes.
Mark, for the last time, it's the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yes, the All Cupcakes Conference.
The Atlantic Coast Conference, and they're hosting their media days in Charlotte, which the Rob Brown Show will be broadcasting from live on Tuesday, July 25th through Thursday, July 27th.
And I'll be there for Clemson.
The Rob Brown Show and Offsides with Mark Ryan live from ACC Media Days
this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And only right here on the Fan Upstate.
The Fan Upstate. WORD Spotlight.
WFBCH2 Dracoville, the official sports voice of the Upstate Fan. CBS Sports Radio. Live from the Philadelphia.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents me to win. You know.
Unfiltered sports talk, manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Upstate.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Welcome in. Good to have you. I am Rob Brown, the great Lonzo on the other side of the metaphorical glass. This AM, you can be a part of the radio broadcast today as well by giving us a buzz at 844-326-3663, 844-326-3663. 3663. You can text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN. FAN, we'll read them on the air. FAN, FAN. That's how you lead off on the text, and we will read them on the air. You can also tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, at Lonzo on Word, if you want to come at us in that direction. I do have, Zoe, a bit of an announcement to make here. Coming up on Monday and Tuesday of next week, when Offsides with Mark Ryan goes off the air at 7 p.m., on the air comes BetMGM Tonight. And on Monday and Tuesday, it will be hosted by Ryan Horvat and Rob Brown. Pretty jacked about that, dude.
Cool.
Yeah. So on Monday and Tuesday, you are getting 7 hours of Rob Brown right here on the Fan Upstage. We'll have our 9 to noon show like normal. On Monday, I'll be here at the Radio Ranch. Monday night, I will be on BetMGM live from the Casa de Love, both on the stream and on the air. On Tuesday morning, we will have the show live from ACC Media Days in Charlotte, North Carolina.
He won't be able to do that there, though. It'd be a quieter version of the show.
ACC Karen, we meet again. My old nemesis.
Is it just a fluke thing, just a one-shot deal? Are we going to get a repeat this year? Is this something to look forward to every year, the showdown between Rob and ACC Karen? I'm rooting for her not being there because I know you don't want the turmoil and the strife and all that kind of stuff, or the restraint.
Let's be real. I'm going to get told once or twice to be quiet. It's an inevitability, right? There's no chance in a room with probably 70 to 100 radio stations broadcasting to various parts of the country and the ACC network, a chief money-making piece for the Atlantic Coast Conference, all doing live shows while I'm on the air. There's a 0% chance I'm not dropping a Charlotte, North Carolina, and not catching somebody walking over to hit me with a dude, stop.
All right. So I don't get the sports should be quiet. If you want to be quiet covering sports, go cover chess. I mean, come on.
Lonzo,
it's sports. You're supposed to be excited. You're supposed to be hyped.
I don't think it is so much about sports needs to be quiet. As could you imagine trying to get anything done in a room with 80 me's?
I can imagine how hard it is to get anything done in a room with just you and Chris having a conversation.
Right.
Chris equally as loud and will match your volume as you go up. So does he. So yeah.
Yep. You are going to turn on Tuesday morning the mic to go live, and it's just going to be with 80 of us in the room.
No, it's not going to sound like that. It's going to be crystal clear, and Rob's going to be coming to you loud as he is.
Oh, for sure it will. For sure it will. It's going to be obnoxious. I'm just telling you, I'm going to set the over-under of sideways glances at 9.5 for the week, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm going to set the sideways glances over under 9.5. And I am going to set the request to lower the volume at, let's say, 3.5. Let's say 1 per day. And then one of those days has to have 2 to hit the over.
Admittedly, if I were there, I would be looking at the person or persons immediately to your right as the broadcast gets ready to start, just to see how high out of their chair they get when they jump.
I will tell you that last year when we went to our right at the very next table, and these tables are set up in rows, long ways. And so there's about a foot from the edge of your table to the next table in either direction. And then between the rows, there's about a 3-foot walkway, like a 3-foot row from your row to the next row up. So if you are
enough room for even the sturdiest
yeah.
of hosts to
Well,
get
I mean,
in
you
between,
got,
supposedly.
You got offensive linemen coming through.
Yeah,
You got to
you
clear
do,
those
you
things,
do.
right? But when I crack the show, I am going to be at a maximum 4 feet away from a host on either side. And last year, they put us right next to our in-town broadcasting rivals, right? Now, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit.
They are quiet folk. So I'm sure there was, hopefully you wasn't too close to the escalator, because you don't want anyone jumping so high that they end up, on the escalator.
We were not. Last year, actually the last 2 years, we were about 3 rows away from the ACC Network's TV setup, right? Now, they set us up next to our in-town broadcasting rivals. And I will pull back the curtain. Over the couple of years, I've made friends with the guys that are on the air over there. Like, we're going to talk smack as stations. Absolutely. We're the kings and they know it. But I've made friends with the dudes on the air, and that happens in this industry, right? Every one of us that is an on-air personality, unless there's just a personality issue, we get along with other people in this role. You kind of have to. We all kind of have to lean on each other. We all kind of have to help each other out. We're always sharing contacts and information and going on each other's shows, et cetera. There are guys that I'm going to see that I haven't seen since last year's ACC Media Days. But guys I'm going to see I haven't seen since last year that we're going to be like, what's up, bro?
This is going to shock
there
you.
There he is.
There he is. When I was there a couple of years ago, some people came up and hugged me.
Yeah.
I know. It's weird.
It's in the industry. We do that. But we are all there pushing ourselves, right? We're all there advertising ourselves and our shows and our stations and whatnot. So while I am absolutely, I've gotten to be buddy with the folks on our rivals, right? They're nice guys. In fact, I saw them at the Clemson Open House on Tuesday. We spent 10, 15 minutes just chatting and catching up. I will tell you that despite the fact that we're buddy, I know that one of the hosts on their station in this time slot, I caught a stink eye a couple times last year. Now, this is the same dude that after our shows were over, we went down to the little mess hall downstairs, where the ACC puts out a breakfast, lunch, and dinner all 3 days.
I was going to say, it's a pretty big place.
It's pretty good. So
that's a bigger place than your it's a ballroom, dude.
It is. So the ACC.
Okay, so a ballroom may be little for you, but for most of us, it's pretty.
Mess hall is just a term for where everybody goes to eat. All right. That's what my grandpa used to call it. The kitchen at his house was the mess hall. So we finished our show. We went downstairs. We had breakfast, lunch, and dinner together pretty much all 3 days, or well, both days last year. We'll do it again all 3 days this year. I have no doubt. All super chill with each other. But the open of the show. Good morning, upstate South Carolina. Welcome to the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Up. Caught the stink eye. All right. And I'm going to catch the stink eye again. So I'm going to set the over-under of stink eyes over volume. I'm going to set that at 8.5. Right. So we just got to get to 3 per day. And I'm going to set the over under of, hey man, we need you to turn the volume down about 3 notches. Like the audible request for volume decrease. I'm going to set that over under at 3.5, 1 per day. And then 1 extra one somewhere to hit the over.
I think I have a way to keep ACC Karen away. So you're going to be there by yourself.
I am rolling solo this year.
So if you don't get up while you're sitting there, always be talking, because she's going to think you're on the air the entire time. Even if you're just talking back to me, if you're always talking, she will not come over and interrupt you. And when you get up to go to the restroom, move quickly in the opposite direction so she can't stop you. Because if she interrupts you,
let me tell you something.
You tell her, hey, you need to talk to my producer. I don't have time right now. And you give her to me and I'll put her on the air.
Yeah, you're not going to be there.
No.
Oh, you mean
that's
actually? Yeah.
That's the point.
Let me tell you something.
Give her the station number and she can call here and we'll put her on the air.
Let me tell you something about television producers.
And I will ask her to speak up no matter what she says.
Once again, I appreciate Lonzo's brass cojones thinking that he just runs every conversation he's in. I respect that. You kind of got to have that attitude. Television producers at that level, you're not scaring them. You're not intimidating them.
She won't.
You're not getting them to back down.
She won't interrupt you while you're talking because she'll think you're on the air.
Yes, they will.
Well, then if she does,
because
while
she's
you're
going to go, you're interrupting us.
Yeah, right. So
Right.
she's doing the same thing.
Right.
Right. So that's a problem. So then you can say, you mean what you just did to me? And then you can just brush her off and tell her to head her butt back over to where she was.
Again,
Probably shouldn't say it that way.
I very much respect that you think that's how it works. I do. I respect that confidence level.
All right.
That ain't how it works.
Here's it can be how it works if you're
No.
willing to go through with the plan, but you just won't go through with the plan.
Once again, when it comes to the people who give the credentials
If
and the
she
place to work,
interrupts you while you're on the air, I need the number for her manager, because I will call the manager and say, listen, we're trying to do a radio show here, and your producer for some reason thinks it's okay to come over and interrupt the radio show. I get that you're TV and you think you're all high and mighty and better than us. You're not. I think in the near future, you need to not let one of your producers, your low-level producers, come over and interrupt an award-winning radio show such as this. And if it should continue, I will be forced to send a strongly worded email. And you don't want that. None of us want that.
Appreciate it. Lonzo, you and I both know that there are people in this building that if they have a problem with us and they go downstairs to talk to the big boss, we're the ones that are going to hear it.
We'll get an email, which is what I just pointed out.
You and I are not convincing the Atlantic Coast Conference that our show being interrupted is more important than their television network that brings in millions of dollars of subscriber fees, it being interrupted by me. It's just not happening. I appreciate it. It's not going to stop me from changing or not going to change how I do the show.
All right.
But it is what it is.
So here's the thing. I know, again, you don't understand this because the color of your hair, but I am not afraid. My hair is golden. I just want to point that out. It's golden. I am not scared, and I don't care about TV. TV is not better than radio. They don't have any business coming over and interrupting the show.
You know what you are? You know what you are? You're the
amazing.
You're the jobber.
Award-winning.
You're the
exciting.
You're the jobber cutting a promo against Cena. All the confidence in the world, but we all know how that ends. You're the jobber cutting a promo against the championship contender.
First of all,
you're the jobber who comes up and the show's in their home city. You're like, hey, this is my hometown. And everybody's like, yeah, that's our jobber. That's our guy. And then the champ comes out and you might get a little offense in here and there. But at the end of the day, we know you're catching a GTS.
So if you're listening or watching at home, the talent just put me in my place. Apparently, I'm just a jobber.
So am I, pal.
No. You did put yourself in that position. You put me in it. You know what?
EJ Manuel,
I am hurt.
I'm the jobber.
EJ, who? Who's that? Does he have a radio show?
Yes.
Does he?
And a television show.
Well, I don't care about TV. Is the radio show any good?
I don't know. I haven't heard it.
Is it nice and quiet?
I haven't heard it.
Yeah, whatever. Is it award winning?
You know what it is? Paid for and run by the ACC.
So
it's okay. All right. I'm done. I appreciate your confidence. I hope one day
here's what it comes down to.
I have the confidence of the great
Mr. Non-confrontational. You're gonna don't let ACC Karen push you around. I'm trying to. I would say I wish that I was there, but I don't want to have to do the work that I'd have to do if I was there, including having to stare ACC Karen down to the point where she's in tears and goes back and goes, "No, I don't want none," because that's what will happen.
Again,
respect
and appreciate.
I used to be
doing.
intimidating. Now I'm like old man Logan intimidating. Okay, all right. She don't want none. The claws come out.
Respect and appreciate what you think you're capable of here.
I'm hurt that you don't have the confidence in me that I could do that. Any of that.
Again, respect the confidence.
I am willing to do a lot of things if I think it's funny, including everything I just said.
You know what I do? I just go up to that cop and tell him I'll drive as fast as I want.
Okay, here's where you take, that's not even an apt comparison. This is a professional setting, whereas I am a producer and she is a producer, and she's no better than me because she's in TV.
Oh,
I see. This is why.
how are you not getting this?
No,
It's
because I don't.
their event.
I don't believe in the hierarchy that you believe
So
in.
let me ask you a quick question. If T2 walks in here right now and he starts telling you what to do, and he goes, "Oh, I'm a producer just like you."
All
we're
right,
on the
so
same
so
footing."
Exactly.
How's that gonna go?
Exactly.
How's that gonna go?
Exactly.
If
That's
he
why.
walks in here and says, "Zoe, get rid of the
Thank
cart
you.
wall,"
I'm
saying
gonna
you should
do
get
what
rid
you're
of it
doing. I'm
because
doing.
I find it obnoxious, and I'm a producer just like you. You are gonna go get the hell out of my room.
I'm gonna do what you normally do. You just proved my point. Thank you. Thank you. She's a producer. I'm a producer. She has no power. Just like Tim could come in here, has no power. She's not my boss. I don't work for the ACC.
No.
You know what? Neither do you.
All right.
You don't work for the ACC. So she has no power over you.
I'm
The worst thing that could happen would be that we wouldn't be invited
tell you
back.
what,
That would be the worst thing.
right.
But so you should have to go through harassment in order to keep the station there. No, you should not. You need to stand up for yourself and say, "Hey, I'm trying to do a show here. You worry about your show. I'll worry about mine." And
tell you what. Tell you
go
what,
away.
I'm gonna disrupt your event that you're putting on, you're paying for, and you're broadcasting.
She's
to
not.
do what I want.
She's
to
not
do.
doing it. She's not doing it.
all
And
right.
the network is
I'm
not
over
doing
it.
it.
I'm
They're
over it.
not.
I'm
Yeah.
over it.
Because
I'm over it.
dude, I
I'm
wish
over it.
you need to stand up for yourself.
over it.
You need to stand up for yourself.
Let's take a break. When we come back, Lonzo's in charge. As always, Fight Club with Lonzo is up next. It's the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Lonzo will out Karen any Karen.
At that moment, when she walks over, I will take my hair down.
Lane had a big night in Nashville last night,
Wow.
you guys.
Wow. Is that Nick Nolte? I'm just seeing it from the corner here. Yeah, it's
Lane had a big night.
so being overly tanned and that is wild. He's so shiny. It's not a real bracket because Paul White's not in it. So, I mean, it's bogus.
Well,
A couple years ago, Paul White was in it, was going to win the whole thing, and you just shut it down because you wouldn't have a wrestler win it. I think it's bogus. That's what I think. Now I'll tell you face to face. Bogus. Why is he a cheater?
Trey said we need to hug it out.
Why?
Brandon, what's up, buddy? How you feeling, my guy? Hope you're well, partner. You're feeling better.
Little tip: if Rob and I are really fighting, we'll just stop talking.
Correct.
I mean, that's the truth.
Avoid confrontation.
If there's no talking, then I don't even think that lady's going to be there this year. You know, Trey, do you want peaceful radio? Is that what you want? Do you want no confrontation? Do you want no disagreement? Do you want no debate?
Last night there was a low-level professional soccer game on ESPN Plus, and Joey B texted me and he said, the play-by-play guy for this game, no joke, sounds like your NPR voice. So I tuned in, and it very much did. Andy, welcome, buddy. Good to have you, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for coming by. We goof off here. I was on, actually, funny enough, I was on Mraz's BetQL show on Sunday as well. We talked about it a little bit. But thanks for coming by, man. We just goof off, and that's actually why I like the DA show, because it's the same. It's the same vibes. Same vibes. But we're glad to have you come by, man.
They're much more violent than we are, though.
And nobody here has crapped themselves on air yet. It's never going away. My poor man's got a legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to attempt that.
Good, my man. If you like the goofiness, you're going to fit right in on this show. We take nothing seriously here at all.
Except for winning awards. That's what we do.
Not wrong.
Let's go out and give it the old college try, Rob. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to matriculate down the field. That's what we're going to do, boys. Matriculate down the field.
Let's talk some wrestling, y'all. Let's get weird. Let's get weirder.
Welcome into the Fight Club, where at least the person on this side of the glass, ACC Karen don't want to mess with. She don't, because, you know, we'll put on the 10-ounce gloves, 15-ounce. I mean, we can go bare knuckle. She don't want none. Because I'm mean and I'm scary. Even if I am old, I'm old man scary, which could be scarier than young man scary. Because young man scary, you look at young man and go, yeah, he probably don't know what he's doing. But old man scary, he ain't got nothing to lose. So you don't want nothing from old man scary. Rob was waiting for me to say the next thing. And you know why I paused on purpose? Because I'm good at segues. The first thing we're going to talk about is waiting. I am noticing something in wrestling, whatever program you go with, whether it's WWE or AEW, there is a whole lot of waiting for that guy to get over to hit that move, which takes away from the move, you know, because that person is a step slower than what you expected. So you're sitting there waiting to be kicked in the face or waiting for them to show up so you can pick them up and throw them over your shoulder. Have you noticed this as much as I've noticed this?
Yeah, I think there's first off, there's one major factor to that, which is obviously the safety, right? Because you don't want to just fly into a move when a guy's not prepped and ready for it, because at the end of the day, yes, it's scripted and it's choreography and all that. But at the same time, dude, you swing a foot towards somebody's face, you can only pull it so much before either A, it looks fake as hell and then the immersion is broken, or B, you clock that guy and you dislocate a jaw. So there's that aspect to it, which is why, despite this game being more and more safe than it's ever been, you still have people like Bayley's going to be out for a while because she took a shot to the knee that she wasn't ready for, et cetera, et cetera. There's that element of it. The second element of it is, and I've noticed this a little bit more. Look, we want wrestling to be flashy and over the top and fun. That's why we love it so much. But I think we've spent so much time getting to the point where we are trying to oversell that you stop making it look like it's an athletic competition, which is the point of immersion. And it becomes a dance. It becomes a ballet. And that's not what I'm here for, right? So as Joey B pointed out, when Cesaro's standing in the ring and he's just staring at Hangman, who's on the outside taking his time, pulling the pad and shaking the ropes and all that, it's like, dude, if you were trying to win a fight, you wouldn't be doing all this. I put it in the same vein. I love the joke, the meme that's been going around for a while, when Jeff Hardy returned to AEW and Matt was getting his butt handed to him in the ring, and Jeff comes out and he does the dance and everything, and he's like slowly walking to the ring, all the while Matt's just getting smoked in there. Like, you have to attack it as if it is legitimate, and then pick your spots where you're going to do the entertainment side of it.
I hope this isn't a trend, but it seems like at least the last month or so, it's happening more and more, like I said, in both companies. And it's annoying. Again, as you pointed out, it's scripted, but at the same time, there's a reason why they do so many reps with all the basic moves, is so those will look so natural. And some of these seem to be basic moves that they're having to wait on. And it's just like dancing. If you get a new dance partner, it may take you a little bit to get used to how they dance. So I get that to a certain degree, but after you wrestle someone a couple of times, you should know how they move. Both of you should know how each other moves and should be able to make it a little more tighter. I got to say, here's something that Rob and I have been thinking for a long time, but we haven't said it enough. We're better than you, baby. And you know it. We are better than you. Absolutely. We saw some cracks last night. One little crack first of all, we talked about this in the office. The mixing of the two songs was great. The jacket was great. The matching trunks between Adam Cole and MJF, all this build up and everything is great. But we saw a crack last night. And the crack is Adam Cole picked up the title and MJF started flaring. So why are they doing this already? Why are we not going to get them taking down stinking FTR and winning the tag titles? Why are we not going to get that? Why are we not going to get some excitement in the tag team titles? So now they're not going to give it to us. We're going to get boring old FTR sticking with the titles to the point where some of us didn't even know who the champs were. Whereas we could have the flair of MJF, of Adam Cole, as the friendship grows and grows and grows. Why not push that? Why put cracks in it already? Is it because of the writer's strike? Is this the reason why?
No.
Is the reason why? Is the writer's strike? I don't know.
No, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, but as far as
See, Joe's right. This team needs to go through. So absolutely it does. There are heights that they could reach, but you're already putting cracks in it. That's a problem.
Here's why. It's real simple. You've got to have a feud over the big belt, right?
Yeah, but eventually. Let's win the tag titles first.
No. You cannot have.
They've already wrestled each other once, and it was a tie, if you remember.
We just went through.
Time limit. Same thing.
We just went through a while back, a very extended period of time where Roman Reigns was champ and was not only he wasn't making title defenses, right? And the biggest issue, they were in the midst of what I think is the best story WWE has told since Daniel Bryan's run to WrestleMania 30. In what is the best story, the reason it felt stale for a little while was not Jimmy and Jay or Solo or Paul or even Roman's acting, because he's gotten much better at it. It felt stale because all the while you had a championship belt that was just hanging out. Nothing was happening. There was no run at it. There was no threat at it. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't introduce challengers to MJF's belt while he's also trying to focus on a run to the tag team title. And frankly, if you want to keep him together, that's the way to go. And then you have Adam Cole kind of supporting MJF, but he's also got sights on the belt. The interesting part about this story is a friendship that we both know ends with somebody spiking the other in the back of the neck, right? We know that's how this goes. You can enjoy a story where the conclusion is inevitable if you don't know the steps on the journey to that conclusion. We know somebody's turning on somebody, but Is it Adam Cole turning on MJF and making MJF almost an anti-hero? Is it MJF being classic MJF and turning back on Adam Cole? I don't know. But the reality is, and this is where I was driving, Joey B just hit it. They don't have a next guy for MJF right now. They're working on building one, and I don't know who it's going to be.
Which is kind of sad, but it's
not
because
necessarily. This happens
you have
to every
like
company. This happens to every company.
Because you have 2 or 3 guys who are rotating, and you talk about how you're bringing the young guys up, and the next young guy is going to be the guy. And MJF was an original. So, but you got to bring somebody else up, or you're only going to get him going against Jericho or Mox or Kenny Omega.
You have to buy yourself time to do that. You can't just let me rephrase that. You can do whatever the hell you want. It's your company, Tony. But as a fan, you can't just put a promo on a guy in the back who's not been a main eventer and go, oh, he's here now. All right, why? How did he get here? Is he good? You've got to have that time. And so in order to build that time, and oh, by the way, let's not pretend Adam Cole's not a top guy in this company right now. You have not only this hilarious story with MJF and Adam Cole, because the comedy segments they're doing are, in my opinion, absolutely brilliant right now. You've got this great story being built with them that not only gives you a really compelling angle to your tag team championship category into that division, you have a quiet feud over the Triple B right now. You've got a quiet feud over your top title. It's Adam Cole versus MJF, just real quietly and with all of us kind of speculating. And now you got Roddy starting to get tossed in there. He's a wild card. Does he get angry at Adam Cole for leaving him in the dark for MJF? Does he ultimately help Adam Cole? And this was a scheme from the beginning, right? Like there's a lot of opportunity here, and you are telling a story around the big belt.
That's what I'm going with, by the
while
way.
also playing a really interesting and compelling angle in your tag team division as well. And I think it's well for doing that.
All right, so this has me excited about something. And if you're listening and watching, well, you're hearing my voice, obviously you are. I'm excited about giving away AEW tickets, which we're going to do
at the end of Fight Club.
At the end of Fight Club. So I want to point that out. When Fight Club is over, now don't want Fight Club to be over just so you can win the tickets. If you do, I get that, but you're going to have to wait just a little bit. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is we have a new North American champion in NXT, and it's Dirty Dominic Mysterio.
I'm here for it, man. Put all the gold on Judgment Day. Put all the gold on him. I love it. Let's let Finn get over on Seth, right? Like let's do all of it. I love it.
Remember, someone has money in money in the
Dom
bank
still got
briefcase.
these senior money in the bank. I am here for Senor Dinero en el Banco. I'm all in for it.
That's just a little too much Spanish for me.
Dom has created this heel character and doesn't even have to cut promos anymore. All he's got to do is move the mic to his face and the roof comes off every building he's in. It's incredible for a dude that I will 100% acknowledge. Lonzo, a year ago, I was like, nah, dude, like this nepotism thing ain't working for me. He's not that good, right? When they were trying to make a face run with Dom, it didn't work. But then they ran the condom angle. They've turned him into this, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's that, and with him having Mommy and the Judgment Day in his back pocket, he's a genuine threat. I love this is a long-term storytelling that has been incredibly compelling, which is why Judgment Day and the Bloodline have been the stories that we keep checking back in to see, because they have found these ways to make them compelling and not predictable.
All right, so Chris, who you've seen on the show or heard on the show from time to time, who's an engineer who's also on air for a long period of time, was in the office yesterday, or I think it was yesterday, and Rob was watching NXT, and we were talking about the fluidity of the camera work in the back. One thing weaving into the next thing, which he thought was amateurish, but I'll let that go because he was a theater guy and they're going to look at it a different way. I love how NXT is doing that, weaving one thing into another. So I'm going to do the same thing by doing what they did So we just talked about Dom. How about the interaction between Dom and the returning Tony D'Angelo about Benny from the yard? I thought that was great. Also, let's talk about the return of the D'Angelo family.
Listen, Tony D'Angelo and the D'Angelo family, the family is great. All right, it's great. It's got the elements of like a classic movie entertainment trope, but I'm gonna tell you the whole thing about Stacks having a plan and the Dom trusting him to run the plan and playing into it. Oh my, it's like, man, it's the most compelling mafia story since The Godfather.
It was beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
The fact that the entire family pulled out crowbars when Gallus got in the ring, that was great. That really was really good. But can you do all this and still have Gallus go over and Tony and Stacks not win the belts?
No, they got to win it now.
Could they double swerve and Stacks come out on top somehow?
I got to tell you, like, rare are the tag teams that I actively campaign against the split, right? Rare are the tag teams where I actively campaign. And I'm talking even active now. If they decided they wanted to have an Uso feud between Jimmy and Jay, I'm all in. That'd be great. I was really enjoying RK Bro, 100%. But if they decided that they were going to have Riddle turn on Randy or vice, I'm all in for that because I think that could be a great program. Rare is the tag team that I go, in zero ways do I want this tag team split up. Tony and Stacks have made it into that group. I do not want them split. I want them to be the D'Angelo family forever. It is my favorite thing on NXT right now. It is actually probably in my top, scratch that. It is definitively in my top 3 things in wrestling right now. And I'm going to say it checks in probably ahead of Judgment Day, to tell you the truth. I love them.
Does it take away from the legitimacy of a mafia family when one member has a Mahomes haircut?
He's young. It's a new age of gangsta on the streets.
Okay. All right. All right.
It's a new era.
All right. If you say that. Okay. Let's talk about the only wrestler who has Rob Brown energy, Thea Hill.
God, I love Thea. I love Thea. My uncrowned champion. She's the best. The best. And on top of being the best, the way that she and Duke are outshining Andre Chase in his own university, the way that there is just she's like a chihuahua, just never stops.
She is.
It's like from the moment she comes out from Gorilla to the moment she goes back through the screen, it's just nonstop. And I freaking love it, dude. I love it.
Still yet, she's not going to win the title. I wish she would. I mean, they put it on people less deserving. I hope she wins it, but she probably won't.
I don't think so. And again, much like I said, with the D'Angelo family, there's a handful of tag teams that I don't want broken up. There's a hand of the tiniest handful of characters, and I'm like, do not ever turn them heel. And Thea Hale's on that group.
All right. I want to know if this says something about me, and it might. I fell asleep during the Blood and Guts match. Had to wake up and rewind it. It was boring to me. And I think WWE does it better with the 2 rings. It's not a bias, it's an observation. The 2 best things about Blood and Guts was the bed of nails, which is just stupid, and one of the Young Bucks, I forget which one, on top of the cage sprinkling thumbtacks down. But other than that, it really wasn't. It didn't tell the kind of story that those kind of matches normally tell, and in truth, wasn't as bloody as they have been in the past. And maybe it's because Cole and MJF was so good that maybe it took away from the rest of the matches on the card, including that one. But it just didn't do anything for me. I don't think you've watched it yet. So
I have watched. I scrubbed through it earlier, mainly because I wanted to see the highlights for this. I saw the broken glass. I saw Cesaro taking a suplex onto it. I saw who was it, Ibushi coming in and Moxley hitting him with a double bird while he's got Omega pinned to a bed of nails, right? And by the way, like when I checked into it, I'm like, all right, how do you do this, right? Do you go like rubber nails? Do you go with like didn't look like it.
Well, I think the key to it is keeping your muscles tight the entire time.
So because I am a gigantic nerd, I went and looked, and the reality is laying on a bed of nails doesn't hurt. It is not about tense muscles.
As long as you don't squirm, I guess.
No. It's physics. It is the more you spread
Okay.
out,
All right.
the more you spread out a surface, the less pressure you can put on any one point. Which is why if you take one nail and you push it into skin, it's going to go through. But if you take a bunch and push it through, because you've spread the force out over a larger area, there's less force in any given particular
There's still
spot.
the danger, though, if someone stepped on it or something like that.
You can still bleep yourself up, but let's be honest, that's true about anything you do in wrestling.
And,
A DDT,
and Moxley might enjoy it. He's just one of those guys.
A DDT is a very easy move to take. It's also a very easy move to get wrong and spike a dude's head and compress their spine. A pile driver is in theory, a very easy move to take and a very easy move to deliver. It's also one that if you get it wrong, the results can be catastrophic. That's just kind of part and parcel with this sport or whatever you want to call it. But you have to do that kind of stuff to create that immersion. I have not watched the whole thing. I've watched watched parts of it here and there. And from what I've seen, I've enjoyed it. I will say one thing about All Elite Wrestling, which, by the way, we're going to be giving away 2 tickets to Saturday Night Collision on August 5th here in just a minute. One thing about it is it does frequently, and in this case, I think it's a good thing. It does frequently have an indie show vibe to it. It does. It has an indie show vibe in that this is a violent fight for the sake of a violent fight. This is a violent fight to watch wrestlers wrestle. I think with WWE, and I'm not saying this as a criticism because I do watch both regularly. WWE is about stories and sometimes they wrestle. AEW is about wrestling with some stories, which is why I said to you this morning. About 80% of AEW's wrestlers are terrible actors.
Yeah, they're not good actors.
But I would also say about 80% of All Elite Wrestling's wrestlers are good wrestlers. And there's a balance there where WWE leads on stories that lead to matches. AEW wants matches that they build stories to fit.
All right, I'm going to tell you before we do this last story as we go to break, caller number 3 to 844-326-3663. You will win a pair of tickets to AEW. But last thing I want to talk about, OnlyFans boxer Daniela Hemsley has been banned from competing in the upcoming Kingpin boxing final after she flashed a crowd. Now, she's saying that's not the reason. And here's the other thing. She said there was an agreement. They knew she was going to do it. You don't bring on an OnlyFans boxer and not expect them to do something like that.
I actually know this story. I know this story.
Why do you know the story, Rob?
Shut up. So I know this story. She had pasties on. She had pasties on the nips. She went because she was going to do the flash, but with pasties on, and the pasties, because of sweat, stuck to her sports bra. So when she lifted, the pasties came up, and she went full out to the world. And I'm just going to say, I believe her. Let her fight.
Caller number 3 right now, you win a pair of tickets to AEW Collision.
AEW Saturday Night Collision, August 5th at the Bon Scorbuenos Arena. I'll be there. Joey B and Jack are going to be there. Lonzo won't. He'll be doing his show. We'll be sending him pictures. Caller number 3 right now wins a pair of tickets. It's Saturday, August 5th at the Well. I'll be there. We'll see you there. It is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we're going to back away while Lonzo answers the phone. We will be right back.
And Allen, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from
So if you were trying to win, or if you couldn't get near a phone, we will be giving some of those away again tomorrow.
Shane Beamer just said at SEC Media Days that season tickets are up 106% for the season.
How's that possible?
Well, if they sold 50,000 last year, they sold 100,000, whatever the number
Okay,
is.
all right.
25 to 50,000.
Okay, all right.
100%
All right.
rise. Not 106% of the stadium.
That's where I should have been thinking ticket sales and not seating. They could have added seating. I didn't know if they added seating, and it's just.
We sold 106% of the seats in the stadium.
So some people ended up on a waiting list. All right, time for Twitter trending topics where I tell Rob what is trending, and he will tell you why. This is how Rob's going to sound live from ACC next week, like this, so he doesn't get the wrath of ACC Karen. Now, let's talk about the things that are trending, including Chubb.
There's a video going around of Nick Chubb on the internet right now doing a squat of over 600 pounds.
Is that bar supposed to bend like that?
Nope.
Yeah, that's just, yeah.
They have all right. Nick Chubb picks up a bar that has 600 pounds on it. It bends right down the middle over his shoulders to the point that, you got the clips on the end that hold the weights there, but they have players on both sides just in case the clips fail because there's like a lot of weight on them. The bar is bent, and up and down, no problem. 600 pounds. The Madden running back ratings came out yesterday. Nick Chubb's a 99. And I was like, 90, I mean, like, he's good, but like the best in the game. And then I saw that and I'm like, oh, he probably just threatened to squat anybody who rated him below that into the freaking atmosphere. It was incredible.
It's if you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. It's wild. That's someone, and it's
unbelievable.
You expect someone like Mark Henry size to be doing that, not someone Chubb size.
Legitimately unbelievable. By the way, congratulations to Rob and Inman for winning the tickets. And I know he's in Inman because he just texted the show and said, man, I never win anything. This is awesome. Congratulations, Rob. You are welcome, buddy. I will see you Saturday, August 5th at AEW Collision.
All right.
And if you didn't win tickets,
you can win them tomorrow. Yes,
that's right.
You can absolutely win them tomorrow. And I believe possibly next week. Neither one of us reads our emails really clearly, so we'll have to go check that out. All right. The next thing is trending is Travis Kelce. Don't you disrespect now.
I wouldn't dare because I want somebody else to win the Super Bowl now. I don't. I love Travis. I mean, I do, but I love Travis Kelce. If somebody's going to win it, I'm fine with it being Travis Kelce. I don't know why he's trending, but I imagine it's amazing.
I can give you a hint. It has something to do with something you just talked about.
I mean, he's a wrestling guy.
All right, we were talking about Madden. You were talking about Madden. So, yes, he is also a member of the 99 Club.
99 Club. He should be.
Which he absolutely should be.
Much like Patrick Mahomes is like we gave our quarterback tiers last
By the way,
week.
watch the rest of the thing. You need to watch the rest
I'm
of the
going
thing.
to. Like we gave our rankings. I gave my quarterback tier list last week, and I put Patrick Mahomes as like he's tier 1. It's just tier 1 is Patrick Mahomes, and everybody else is tier 2 and below. That's Travis Kelce at the tight end spot right now. Like it's Travis Kelce, and then there's a group of guys at tier 2 that could jump up to be up there with him, but right now it's just Travis Kelce.
All right, finally, Barbenheimer is trending.
Oppenheimer? Oh, yes, because it and is it this weekend they both come out?
It's today.
Today they both come
out.
Yes.
Who you got? Who's gonna win the box office overall? Not the first weekend. Who's gonna win overall?
For the sake of America, I hope it's Oppenheimer. However, I am going to say I got more interested in the Barbie movie yesterday when I saw a trailer when she looked at a group of homeless guys and said, I don't have genitalia. And I was like, well, now I have to see this movie. I just have to see in what context do I get to see Margot Robbie say the line, I have no genitalia.
Yeah, but just think Ken doesn't either, which makes it even more interesting.
Better.
Yes.
I did check the line where he's like, can I come over to the house? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, what are we going to do? And he goes, I don't know. I'm like, I have to see this movie. Barbie and Ken making crude jokes. Let's go.
I'm very tempted. It also has John Cena in it. So, I mean, there you go. He's got long hair. I think he's like Ocean Ken or something.
I'm in. It's going to be weird. I do want to see Oppenheimer, though. I really do want to see that. Y'all, we're going to take a 21-hour break. We'll come back tomorrow and do it all over again, but better. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This was The Rob Brown Show. This is The Fan Upstate. Later. Yeah. That's the show, dudes and dudettes. Thank y'all for hanging out. We appreciate it. I have like 96 things to do today, so we're going to leave. Have a great rest of your day.
And
People.
I've got 99 problems, and yeah, anyway.
And I'm one. Bye.